Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode number 81 of the Below the Yellow Line podcast. I'm your host, Joe Laney Pavlon, alongside me and my colleagues, Justin Hebert and Daniel Ford. We're going to get everything covered here for this weekend, including NASCAR, Supercars, the Bathurst 1000, Supercheap Auto Bathurst 1000, the NASCAR races at Kansas, IMSA Petit Le Mans, the third of 4 races in the Michelin Endurance Cup, and we'll talk some ARCA, MotoGP, and other things around the buzz and motorsports. And later in the podcast, we will preview the upcoming races this weekend that include Texas for NASCAR and all the 3 series as part of the playoffs in the round of 8. We'll get into the IndyCar finale, St. Petersburg Grand Prix. We'll preview the contenders, Scott Dixon versus Joseph Newgarden. We'll discuss the 24 hours of Spa, the unique 25-hour race this weekend as clocks change back in Belgium in that time zone. We'll also preview Formula One and their 24-year return hiatus at Portugal return, their debut at Portimao. We'll keep you guys posted on all these things. But let's start with NASCAR. The Kansas 400, the Hollywood Casino 400, the first race in the round of 8 in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs.
Yep.
Was won by Joey Logano. Now, how did Logano win this race? We'll discuss that in just a minute. It was the 33rd race of the season and the first race in the round of 8, as I mentioned. Joey Logano led 47 laps this past yesterday. Started second, his 26th career win. Third at Kansas. He joins the 3-time winners club that include Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, Jeff Gordon, and Jimmy Johnson. No drivers exceeded 3 wins at Kansas in the Cup Series yet, but a new member in Joey Logano has joined that club of 3 winners at Kansas. It's the 3rd win for Logano in 2020, the first win for Logano since the COVID-19 break that happened just after he took the checkered flag at Phoenix. And speaking of Phoenix, the first time a Final Four race will be held at Phoenix Raceway. Now Logano's in a position to win his 2nd championship. How did Logano do that?
For me, the thing that helped Logano, remember towards the end of the race, we had pit stops. We had pit stops after incident. Not Kurt Busch, but like somebody got on the wall. And Logano got off pit road first over Harvick. And he got a really good restart, which really helped him. But the thing about Harvick, which his car, compared to Logano, the thing that Logano said, he was better in dirty air, like behind lap cars, than Harvick. And Harvick was so loose off the corners. Like Harvick was loose in the corner compared to Logano, which really helped Joe Logano. But like Logano just had towards the end, he just had a good car. He was not loose. You saw Harvick in the corners. He was sideways. Logano wasn't, which really helped Joe Logano keep the lead, and he took the checkered flag.
And don't forget about Alex Bowman. He was also in that mix as well. He was at least 2 car lengths behind Logano and Harvick, and he could have been in contention to win and get his part to Phoenix, but he guess he'll have to try again at Texas and Martinsville.
Yep. Joseph, your mic.
I was just about to ask what could Harvick have done differently in those closing laps to catch Logano and maybe pass him in the lead? Because Harvick led 85 laps in the race and started 4th, finishing 2nd. He was very close to reaching double digits on the win count this year. Something Harvick has never done before in his NASCAR Cup Series career.
I don't know what he could have done.
I knew with 3 to go, he was trying to get past Logano on the high line, and also the low line, but the middle lane was just not working. Whereas he with 3 laps to go, he was coming off of two, and he had a massive run. He almost passed Logano on the backstretch, but going into three, that's where he had to let off because the car went so tight that
Yeah,
he just couldn't get to the bottom and just kept and cleared him.
yeah,
That's right, Danny, because this package is all about aero and fighting against that wall of air. I use that word wall loosely because the air is such a threat. When you're trying to make a pass, it takes longer to complete a pass with this package. Restarts are somewhat like a conveyor belt, and we'll talk the package a little more in a few moments, but let's move down the results. Kevin Harvick, Alex Bowman, Brad Keselowski. Keselowski led 6 laps. He was in the front most of the race. Keselowski started 8th. Harvick started 4th. Kyle Busch was the highest non-playoff driver in the running order. Busch led 4 laps and started 20th. Kyle finished 5th. Chase Elliott won stage 1, led 49 laps after starting on pole. Elliott finished 6th. Ryan Blaney, 7th. William Byron led 3 laps, finished 8th. Martin Truex Jr., 9th. And Christopher Bell gets a top 10 for Levine Family Racing.
Yep.
And a few other drivers we'll highlight. Matt DiBenedetto led 12 laps, started 18th, finished 12th. Denny Hamlin won stage 2, ran into trouble. Hamlin led 58 laps, started 7th, and 15th place finish is certainly not what Hamlin and the 11 team hoped for. And lastly, Kurt Busch finished 38th. He led 2 laps, started 3rd, and retired with a blown engine, joining Matt Kenseth, who had a crash in the race and double the timer for Chip Ganassi.
So there might be a team killer video about Chip Ganassi at Kansas. Well, you might see one at one point.
One of those racing memes, but unfortunately, with Kurt Busch blowing up, that puts him dead last in the points right now. So going into Texas, which is one of his best tracks, and he's won there before in 2009. I think he might have a shot.
Yeah, and also
at winning at Texas and also Martinsville.
Yeah, like Kurt Busch, he's currently, even with getting just stage points, it's not enough. He's 78 below the cutoff.
Yeah, 78 below the cutoff. Well, you're in definitely something.
Yeah, you gotta win because
you're definitely in a must-win situation with 2 races left in the round of 8.
Yeah.
These next 2 races include Kansas and Phoenix. Texas and Phoenix.
I was about to say
Phoenix.
No, not Phoenix, Martinsville.
I was about to say, why are we going to Kansas again? And where's Martinsville and Texas in there? I think you're getting ahead of yourself. I think.
Yes, that is what about 4 hours of sleep looks like.
Yeah,
on a Sunday night.
Good.
Yes, the next race is at Texas. It's around 34 and 36, the penultimate race in the round of 8. That would lead the Cup Series drivers to Martinsville, which will close the round of 8 and set the stage for Phoenix, where the Championship 4 event will be held. This time I get it right.
And at Martinsville, just to let people know if they forgot, we go backwards 1 hour on November 1st at Martinsville. So we go, hopefully nobody's tired the next day on the podcast. 83.
Backwards. I was about to say, we go backwards. Martinsville, right turn, Martin.
No, like I mean the clocks go backwards.
Yeah, daylight savings ends on that day.
Yeah, at Martinsville. So hopefully nobody's tired the next day during the podcast. Maybe like last year when we did the Texas podcast last year. Yeah.
All
Also,
right.
speaking of Martinsville and another driver in the round of 8, Truex Jr.
Oh.
Truex Jr. has won
Oh.
here at Martinsville twice now.
Yeah.
So
It's like
I expect him to punch his ticket into the championship 4.
so weird how Truex. I thought he was going to be really a contender. He was just running 9th. Just it was so odd not seeing him leading laps. He was just running.
Even winning races.
Yeah, he's just running 9th. And Joe Gibbs has Hamlin winning and a 1 win by Truex. That's their only wins for Toyota, and Toyota's not happy about it.
Toyota certainly could have won more than the races that they had.
Yeah,
but the Fords have been dominating.
Especially when there's 2 teams competing against each other for supremacy.
Stewart Haas
and Penske.
Absolutely.
They're just so good. And Toyota just only has Gibbs.
Right.
That are really contenders. And Chevy, they only have Hendrick.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong. Gibbs is bringing a few races here and there with Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, but Truex has 1 win.
Yeah, true.
Had Hamlin not run into trouble and finished 15th, he would have easily had a much higher gap in points. And that's where we're going to discuss now the round of 8 in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. So Joey Logano, with that win, he has punched his ticket into the Championship 4 race at Phoenix, which is after the next 2 races are finished, leaving Kevin Harvick highest.
Yeah, he's highest seed.
Plus 41. Denny Hamlin plus 20, and then it gets slim from there. Brad Keselowski 4th plus 8. Chase Elliott 5th minus 8. Alex Bowman 6th minus 27 from the cut line. Martin Truex Jr. needs to do some work. Minus 31 for the 19 team. And Kurt Busch is eventually in a must-win situation. Minus 73 points.
Oof.
Busch was already in a deficit entering Kansas, whether he retired or not out of that race.
Yeah.
Didn't make a difference. He was pretty much the ideal driver that won to move into the next round, which I think Kurt Busch is the only true case of winning to get into the next round that we've seen in the Cup Series this year.
I've also heard, if people wondering why is Alex Bowman minus 27 even finishing 3rd, the reason he's minus 27, if Logano didn't win, he would have not been minus 27. It's because Logano was 5th seed, and he ended up winning. That's why, remember after the reset after the Roval, Logano was 5th. With him winning, that creates the guys behind him more deficit, a bigger deficit. So that's why Alex Bowman's minus 27, Truex 31 back. If people were wondering.
Okay. So we will continue this conversation about the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs when we get into Texas and preview each driver's history and past successes at Texas Motor Speedway. Later in the podcast, we'll discuss the NASCAR Xfinity Series.
Oh.
Very eventful Kansas 300.
This race was more eventful than any. This race was so eventful compared to the other.
It rattled the points.
Oh,
big time.
Man.
We'll explain that.
Yeah.
Chase Briscoe, dominant once again, and put a stop to Brandon Jones.
His streak.
Yeah, a streak of 2 wins at Kansas. And Chase Briscoe, playoff driver, won stage 1, stage 2, led 159 out of the 200 laps in the race.
Yeah.
Started 6th, his 11th career win, 9th of 2020, and that puts the number 98 team, Chase Briscoe,
to the final.
Haas Racing, and Diego Dembeste into the Championship 4. Chase Briscoe barely missed out. He was the odd man out last year. Now Briscoe is in this year, and I'll give you some fun facts about Chase Briscoe. Chase Briscoe last season, after 33 races with, time on track practice qualifying. He won one race, 13 top 5, 6 top 10s, 2 poles. But of the laps that he ran, now, before I get into the series won 9 times. The first time he's won more than once in a season. 16 top 5s, 20 top 10s. He's led 800 more laps.
Oh my God!
Last year, he led 197 last year. This year, he's led 957 laps.
Whew. Wow. Chase Briscoe. People say, "Oh, he's not gonna have talent after winning one truck race," and he's like Briscoe. You know, he did make the truck playoffs in 20. No, he did make the playoffs. Yeah, he did make the truck playoffs, but he didn't get to the he won a race in the trucks. People forget he won 2 races, but 2017 he won at Homestead. Brad Keselowski Racing's last race. He won in 2018 Xfinity. He ran 1 truck race in different Xfinity races, winning at Eldora. He won the Roval, which nobody expected. I didn't expect it. 2019, I'm like, oh, he'll do decent. He got 1 win, but this year with Las Vegas. He
could have won Talladega as well.
Yeah, but Las Vegas, his race at Vegas that he won, he really did good. Like the first Vegas race, that was his third career win, his first of the season. And then we went on the pandemic, and then he won the race after the pandemic at Darlington. Like you've seen how many wins, and Pocono was a good example. Remember the spin end win? He blew a tire with 22 laps to go, rebounded to win.
The caution, everyone thought Chase Briscoe would be out of the race. The caution that resulted in the restart, him winning the race. So have that objective in mind here. Let's move on to the results because there's a lot to process with the Xfinity race.
Oh, yeah.
Maverick started third, second for the 7th time in his career.
Oh my God!
Finished second.
Man.
Still close. Let's go down the results. Ryan Sieg, second highest playoff driver, finished 3rd. Led 19 laps, started 8th. Justin Haley managed to finish 4th. Austin Hill finished P5, started 29th. That's Hill's best career finish in the Xfinity Series, as well as Shiggy Hattori Racing Enterprise's best finish as a team for them as well. Josh Williams finished 6th, and if you heard the Josh Williams story, it was Williams' career best finish, but a member of their team.
Oh, yeah, after last time passed away in an accident. I remember this.
Very sad, and there are more details involved with that. You go ahead and find out about that. We don't want to speak ahead of ourselves on that, but a very, very important top 10 performance. 6th place. Well done for Josh Williams. Career best finish for him. Brett Moffitt finished 7th. Michael Annett in the 8th spot. Brandon Jones finished 9th. He survived the chaos of this race.
Yeah, we'll talk about what happened.
Yeah, Justin Allgaier rebounded. Messed to finish 10th.
Yeah.
Could have been better. Now, this is where it gets interesting. We're going to list some of the drivers outside the top 10 here. Ross Chastain finished 12th. Chastain led 7 laps, started 4th. Austin Cindric, this is where it gets very interesting. Cindric led 1 lap. He started 2nd, but there was contact, and he had a damaged car and limped it home to 28th, basically unlapping people that already either crashed out of the race or were behind the wall in a car that would really exceed any speed beyond 150 miles an hour.
Yeah, that car was not fast.
Yeah.
All right, let's move down. One position is luckily for Cindric. He didn't lose another lap, and he never retired from the race. Anthony Alfredo led 1 lap, started 25th, crashed out, finished 29th, as well as Riley Herbst. He finished 30th. He was in that same wreck. Herbst started 12th. And this is where things are even crazier. Noah Gragson, who was considered a lock in the Final Four, potentially entering this race in this round, 13 laps from the pole, retired, finishing 36. So let's start with Gragson and Cindric here. What happened between those two?
Okay, for me, what I saw, remember Ross Chastain on the outside got the best restart. He got on the outside. Cindric kind of got loose, but Gragson got loose on the bottom. Clipped Cindric, and they just hooked together. Cindric had less damage than Gragson. There was people in the back spinning, which I saw that in the background. But, like, people said that was Cindric's fault, but I'm like, Gragson got loose into Cindric, so it's not Gragson's fault. It's not Cindric's fault if Gragson gets loose on the bottom and clips Cindric. But... and they couldn't, like, the car, they had trouble. They had so much suspension.
The clock.
But the thing is, they would have probably not even got the limit because the whole right front suspension was really damaged. They would have probably went about maybe 120. They couldn't even reach minimum speed probably.
That's bad.
It was horrible. Now, why is this important? Neither Austin Cindric and Noah Gragson achieved any stage points at all in this race as they were expecting to. They didn't make it to the end of stage 1.
Yeah.
And that's going to hurt them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
There are 2 races left in the round of 8.
Yep.
Which means they're definitely in a place where it's a must-win situation.
Yeah. And remember what happened last time when Gragson went to Texas? The contact with Riley Herbst rubbed a lot of fans the wrong way. And and Cindric sometimes, like, I've seen races where Cindric just like last year Cindric kind of got loose in some of those races at Texas, so yeah, they have to get the most points they can, and they have to win. Gragson has to really win. Cindric has to be really consistent. If he's wrecking, that's not going to be really a good help for him.
Now with Austin Cindric, he was from probably about 30 or 20 points above the cut line to now just +2.
Yeah.
+2, it sounds small, but everything he did in that race to rebound from that contact to finish 28th place. It shows how much things can change. So little time. If you saw what happened on turn 2 between Cindric and Gragson, who was the car just behind them, jamming on the brakes?
Chase Briscoe.
What were the chances of Cindric's car or Gragson's car doing a 90-degree or 180-degree spin in front of traffic, causing a big one? About 95%.
Yeah, but they kept it straight. Somehow. They both kept it straight.
Precision driving. That's what precision driving is.
Yeah, they didn't spin. They kept it straight to not collect other people.
Right. So, either way, it's just a very, very unfortunate situation for both drivers. Now, let's talk about the next significant. This was actually on a restart entering turn 1. It involved Justin Allgaier.
My.
3 or 4th in line on the inside.
And
he tried to make a move on Anthony Alfredo. Alfredo was assuming Brandon Brown would spin his tires.
But Brandon Brown
was a car length towards the inside down on the apron.
And he didn't back off in the corner, which
set Alfredo's car into the wall
the truck
and on his roof.
And slipped down. And he slipped down the banking upside down.
That actually, Brandon Jones. Now, Brandon Jones has got to be the luckiest driver in that wreck because
he got clipped a little bit by Alfredo. He clipped and spun, but had rear bumper damage. But he also flat spotted the tires when he spun.
Alfredo walked away from that accident.
Yeah,
But
thank God.
Also, it was not just Brandon Brown that spun the tires on the restart. It was also the car ahead of Brandon Brown.
Yeah,
The car the car ahead of Brandon Brown was Justin Haley. He didn't have the best car. He just couldn't go. That means Brandon Brown had to check up. Allgaier tried to go like 5 wide on the apron, which I'm like, Allgaier back out, and he didn't back out, and that ended up Alfredo going up the track.
So, yeah, Anthony Alfredo has one more race this season. Will he run full-time next year? Hopefully that's the case. And Riley Herbst was involved in that crash as well. Allgaier survived that, but definitely rubbed some people in the pits and in the garage area the wrong way after that. But I guess that's just what happens when you're late in the restart, fresher tires, feel like there's just no time left to spare, and something like this happens. So let's now discuss the playoffs. The round of 8, so Kansas is complete. Now Texas and Martinsville is next. Chase Briscoe, he's in the Final Four with the win. Briscoe is good. He doesn't have to worry about Texas, doesn't have to worry about Martinsville. Phoenix is all that's left. Justin Allgaier, this is so close. Allgaier plus 11 in second. Brandon Jones, third, 9 points above the cut line. Austin Cindric is now 2 points over the cut line in fourth. In fifth, 2 points beneath the cut line, Justin Haley. Ross Chastain, 6 minus 12. Ryan Sieg is 7th, minus 17. And Noah Gragson is minus 33 and 8.
Weesh.
So in addition to the contact between Cindric and Gragson, Briscoe is in. Luckily for those drivers, it was Chase Briscoe who won to get into the Final Four. Otherwise, 2 spots would be locked in. If someone were like Ross Chastain or even Ryan Sieg won that event, then the second seed, Chase Briscoe, he'd be like 60-something points over.
Yeah.
On the other hand, it's not over for Austin Cindric. People are on social media tweeting how Austin Cindric just threw his championship hopes away. It's not over.
No.
The last time they raced in Texas, yes, he finished second across the line, physically took off, failed inspection, but he still won the race.
Yeah. But he just has to not make mistakes. Because there's other drivers that are really going to pressure Cindric.
Mm-hmm. And they know their position is a lot better than it was for sure entering the round of 8.
Yeah.
Now for the Truck Series race at Kansas, the first race in the round of 8, race 1 of 3, and the 20th round of the 23 race championship season. The Truck Series returned to Kansas for the third and final time this year. They raced twice at the track before in the hot summer in July. And Brett Moffitt for GMS Racing, the 2018 champion who won the championship for Shigetori, picked up his 12th career win, his first win of the season, believe it or not. With the numbers he's put, Moffitt led 15 laps and started third. His 12th career win, likewise, first win of the season. And I think it's the first win since Mosport of last year.
Yeah.
Yep. I double-checked. That is correct.
Yeah.
But it wasn't easy. He beat Sheldon Creed. Now, Creed won both stages, stage 1 and stage 2. at 61 laps. I forgot to mention, Brett Moffitt is in the championship 4 with that race.
Yes.
Sheldon Creed won both stages, plus 61 laps, led in the race. Creed started 4th, finished 2nd. Austin Hill, the 3rd highest playoff driver and the highest playoff driver outside GMS Racing. Hill led 13 laps, started 8th, and finished 3rd. Grant Enfinger led 1 lap, started 6th, finished 4th. So playoff drivers in the round of 8, 1st through 4th in the running order. 5th place, Chandler Smith, who drew pole, led 1 lap and is trying to get Kyle Busch another Owners Championship this year. They're defending champions in the Owners category. So good run for Chandler Smith.
Yeah.
6th place, Christian Eckes. Now, Eckes led 7 laps, finishing behind teammate Chandler Smith. He started 14th. Timothy Peters, first race since Talladega 2019, driving for the absent Stuart Friesen for Halmar Racing. Great performance. 7th place after starting 28th, finishing in the 8th spot. Finishing in the 8th spot, Matt Crafton, playoff driver. Crafton started 5th. Crafton is looking to make history to become the 2nd driver to win 4 championships in the Truck Series, a feat that's only accomplished by Ron Hornaday, a NASCAR Hall of Famer. Yeah. Derek Kraus and Trevor Bayne round out the top 10. Kraus started 12th. Bayne started 11th. So 2 top 10s in a row for Trevor Bayne, and had he not been queued at Bristol, it would have been a 3rd.
Bristol?
Yeah, Trevor Bayne was DQ'd out of his finish.
Was that Bristol? That was.
Didn't Trevor Bayne finish in the top 10 at Kansas?
Yes, Bayne finished top 10. Kansas.
Yeah.
I'm confused for some reason. I'm just so confused.
Why?
Just doing research.
Oh, it was Bristol. I thought it was Richmond, but Richmond, he was 29. I thought it was Richmond, but he ran 29. Maybe that's why I was confusing Bristol and Richmond. Because he was running 29th at Richmond.
All right, let's check out some notable drivers here. Zane Smith. Now, how lucky is Zane Smith? Very lucky not to crash that truck with just a handful of laps to go, making contact with teammate Brett Moffitt with just a handful of laps to go. Zane Smith, playoff driver, led 37 laps after starting 9th. Todd Gilliland finished 13th after leading 3 laps and started 17th. Few spots back, Haley Deegan. Welcome to the Truck Series. Haley Deegan finished 16th after starting 34th in her debut. 2 spots back, Johnny Sauter. Now, Sauter led 1 lap and started 13th, but an untimely caution results in Sauter finishing 18th. Ben Rhodes had nearly an electrical problem, but he finished 20th after starting 2nd. Ben Rhodes is a playoff driver. And lastly, for the playoff drivers, Tyler Ankrum, who crashed out in a wreck off turn 4, retiring from the race. That wreck involved David Gravel. David Gravel finished 35th. Dirt track sensation, made his 2nd start in the Truck Series. And lastly, Tanner Gray. Tanner Gray crashed out in the same wreck after starting 19th.
Wait, you were saying about that wreck. Do you know what's interesting about this crash? There was actually 2 different incidents on the same lap. You had the first one that how Ankrum got involved was Lassard got loose on the bottom, came down the track, collected Ankrum, and Peters got a little bit of damage. The second wreck is the weirdest. David Gravel got loose underneath Ben Rhodes. Ben Rhodes got on the wall. But David Gravel overcorrected the wheel into Tanner Gray, which they were behind the Lassard situation. Gravel lost it on the bottom and overcorrected into Tanner Gray, which was interesting when I saw that crash. I'm like, yeah.
All right. Soon we will look at the playoffs. The playoffs now in the Truck Series, unlike Xfinity, is actually a different story because the Truck Series had the smallest margin of points in the round of 8 from first to 8th seed, meaning you need those stage points more than ever.
Yeah, and speaking of before we move to the next topic, here's my prediction of who's gonna make it to the round of 8. The way how Sheldon Creed's running.
I mean, the Championship 4.
Oh yeah, the Championship 4. Sorry.
No, go on.
So the way how Sheldon Creed's running in the Championship 4 right now, no, in the round of 8. Oh, gosh, I'm so sorry. The way how he's running this season, he's definitely got a shot to go to the Championship 4. Also, Austin Hill. Austin Hill's another one. A lot of people have been sleeping on him now. Now that it's coming towards the Championship 4, coming towards the last race. But you got to remember, he's been also consistent all year.
Very, very dominant. But yeah, so what? Like I mentioned, same thing for all 3 series. Round of 8, Kansas, Texas, Martinsville. Truck Series, Texas 400-kilometer event this weekend. Then Martinsville short track race. So for Bret Moffitt, his win puts him into the Final Four. Bret Moffitt was in the Final Four the last 3 years, including this championship in 2018. It was actually my prediction to win the title last year, and I think I predicted him to win the title this year. It's either him or Austin Hill, but they're just
you picked Austin Hill now, but before the pandemic, you picked Bret Moffitt.
Right. Many changes happen. So Sheldon Creed is second, but he's only plus 26. Don't get where he's seated. Plus 26 means you can lose 26 points in 26 spots very easily within the next 2 races.
Yeah.
Just look at the Xfinity Series. The Xfinity Series of the 3 series in round of 8 has the largest gap between points between first and 8th.
Yeah.
And the Truck Series, of course, has the slimmest. But we saw what happened in the Xfinity race with 2 drivers that were supposed to be somewhat locks in the Final Four. Austin Hill plus 19 and Zane Smith plus 7. Those stage points really helped Zane Smith.
Yeah.
5th place minus 7, Grant Enfinger. Grant Enfinger was close to being a threat in the championship last year, but it ended very, very abruptly after what happened at Las Vegas sports issue.
Oh, yeah.
Defending champion Matt Crafton minus 15 points. Crafton minus 15. Ben Rhodes, the 3rd and final ThorSport truck in the championship hunt, minus 33. And Tyler Ankrum is in a hole minus 56 points after his retirement on Saturday.
Which 56 points, the maximum points in NASCAR is 48 you could get. 56 is over a race. He has to really perform now because he can't just rely on stage points because he's over a race back at this point.
At this point in time, it's crunch time, and wins are really what's needed to go into the championship 4.
Yeah. Yeah, like this 26 team, they can't just be, I know it's a new team. People are like, because this team didn't exist until it was announced in January that Ankrum would drive. Like, they just have to get the chemistry right because they barely made it to the round of 8. They were close to not being there, but because Gilliland blew an engine and Eckes crashed, that's how they got in. If that didn't happen, they would have been eliminated. Ankrum would have been eliminated.
You know, Tyler Ankrum nearly lost his ride last year. Won for David Gilliland. They kept him in the loop, and just look where he's at. But the thing with GMS Racing, I mentioned many times before, they have competition within their own team.
Yeah, they do. Because GMS has 4 trucks full-time, 21, the 23, the 2, and the 26. They also have their part-time, number 24, which they have Chase Perry in this weekend, but like they have 5 trucks. Most of these weeks now they have 5 because you're allowed to run a 5th truck part-time. And 4 trucks for the full season. And yeah, GMS, they're so competitive, which is really, they're just like, the thing I want to say, they're so competitive. It's like, remember when Roush had many cars, they were competitive, like 2005?
Half their drivers were in the Cup.
Except this is 4 GMS trucks competing against each other in the round of 8. Like, they're just so impressive this season, this team.
You know, one of them has a shot to win the championship this year.
Yep.
Brett Moffitt.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about the playoffs later on. Let's transition into the Bathurst 1000. The Supercheap Auto Bathurst 1000 this year was certainly an emotional one for many reasons. And yeah, we don't with that nickname. I'm sorry.
Oh my. Okay. Sorry, people.
Come in the live chat. Go ahead.
Just have a real good name.
Have a name that is,
appropriate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like don't put names like that. That's not appropriate.
Yeah, man. That's really not, man.
We don't have any time for bullshit. Let's talk Bathurst.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the 11th and final week of the 2020 Supercars Championship season, the 31st and final race of the year. After all the changes that happened in the season, everything finalized at Bathurst. I think that the 20 years since the last season finale at Bathurst. And this one was emotional because Holden, the flagship Australian brand of cars, this is their farewell race as a factory supporting manufacturer. As General Motors announced in February this year, the Holden name will be retired in 2021. So Shane Van Gisbergen and Garth Tander led 105 laps, started 4th, and it's Triple Eight Race Engineering's 8th Bathurst win. So number 8 for Triple Eight, car Triple Eight, and it's Holden's 34th Bathurst 1000 victory.
As a manufacturer.
Yes, as a manufacturer, and Shane Van Gisbergen finally gets a Bathurst 1000 when Bathurst was, like, for many drivers, it's a hard race to win. It's tough to.
It's an easy. And Mark Schaefer said this. It's an easy race to lose, but it's such a hard race to win.
Well put, Danny. Regard Tander, it's the 4th win in the great race. Tander and Van Gisbergen, the 2016 Supercars champion, finally wins the Bathurst 1000. Something Marcus Ambrose championships never was able to accomplish in his career. But Garth Tander, who won in 2000, 2009, 2011, and 2020, has joined Jamie Whincup, Greg Murphy, Harry Firth, Bob Jane, and Alan Moffitt, part of the 4 Winners Club.
Yeah, and Van Gisbergen finally wins. In 2014, he had started on pole. He was doing so good. He was in a position to win until that moment when he had to pit for fuel, and he stalled it, and he couldn't get it fired up because of an alternator problem, and that cost him. Yes, last year he finished second to McLaughlin. So now he finally wins at Bathurst, and I want to say I'm so proud of what he and Garth Tander has done in that day.
Right.
On the other hand, I know, Joseph, you told me not to talk about this, but
You can't. I know what happened on lap 32.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. So I'm gonna hand it back over to you, Joseph, because I'm not gonna get myself into trouble here.
Yeah, well, Jamie Whincup
And Craig Lowndes.
messed up again after winning the Bathurst 1000 in 2012. The heartaches continue for J-Dub. Just seems like Bathurst hasn't treated him well, or maybe he hasn't treated Bathurst well enough to pick up a 5th win. And
yeah, it's really unfortunate. So honestly, I think, was it the cutting where he had wrecked? Yeah, that's a tricky spot.
Yeah.
That's a very tricky spot at the cutting. You hold your breath through there. So that was unfortunate with him.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention for Shane Van Gisbergen, as for his Bathurst career, it's his 3rd podium and 1st ever Bathurst 1000 win, and in his career, the 40th Supercars win of his career, and 117th podium of all time. As for Garth Tander's 4th Bathurst 1000 win and 7th podium. Tander's 56th career win in Supercars and 154th podium. But as you said, Jamie Whincup was the expected better driver here, because Whincup and Lowndes were the most experienced bunch in the race compared to the other pairs of drivers. We saw a lot of new faces as co-drivers this year.
Yeah, like the thing that was interesting, like people said, "Oh, Van Gisbergen is not gonna do well. It's McLaughlin's gonna pull away and lead every lap." I'm like, "And lead every lap." There's some parts they didn't do good compared to the other duo of, like, Tander really drove the car well. The same as Van Gisbergen really drove it well at the end of the race.
Yeah, that's right. 2nd place in the Supercheap Auto Bathurst 1000. The pole-sitting car, Cam Waters and Will Davison. They led 24 laps from the pole. As for Waters in the Bathurst 1000, it's his 1st career podium, 1st career pole. And for Davison's 4th career podium in the Bathurst 1000. And as for the Supercars career for Cam Waters, his 19th podium total, his 3rd career pole. Just 3 poles in Cam Waters' career, and one of them is the Bathurst 1000. Now that is something to consider. And in terms of Will Davison, his 57th career podium, 18th career pole. What held the Tickford Racing team back? They were closing in on the Red Bull Holden Racing team car of Shane Van Gisbergen towards the end. There were like 3 safety cars in the final 20 laps.
Yeah. But one of the things that didn't help them, they were pushing it way too hard. Like the Van Gisbergen got better starts. Like you saw Van Gisbergen getting really good starts. But the thing about the team, Waters just after the restart, he would push it too hard and slide through the corners. He was not performing, like he was not getting off the corners with much speed compared to Van Gisbergen, which really didn't help. But it's like they were cracking under pressure trying to catch Shane, but they just couldn't.
And maybe there just wasn't enough time. Eventually, Cam Waters, Tickford Racing, they can learn from this rather than just call it a defeat. It wasn't really a defeat for them. It was actually an accomplishment to actually outperform the DJR Team Penske cars. That's brilliant. All right, moving on to third place was Chaz Mostert and Warren Luff. Now, Warren Luff comes short once again in the Bathurst 1000. They started third. Chaz Mostert, the 2014 Bathurst 1000 winner, will not get a second win this time, but brilliant debut for Waukesha Andretti United in the 1000 for Chaz Mostert. It's a second podium for Bathurst in terms of the Bathurst 1000 for Mostert, and for Warren Luff, his sixth career podium. He is still searching that first win. Warren Luff, now in his mid-40s. Can he get any closer? I mean, we'll just have to see where this goes. In terms of the career for Chaz Mostert, his 58th career podium, and for Warren Luff, his 13th career podium. So think about Warren Luff's podiums. Of them 13 total in supercars, almost half of them in the Bathurst 1000, and he's still searching for that first win. All right, now we got those two out of the way. Fourth place, Fabio Quatararo, Tony D'Alberto. Coulthard and D'Alberto led one lap. They started seventh, and that position was good enough to clinch DJR Team Penske, Dick Johnson Racing, and Roger Penske their third team's championship. They won the team's championship in 2017, and in 2019 last year. They win it again this year in 2020. Well done for them in Ford.
Yeah.
Brilliant season. And fifth place, Scott McLaughlin, Tim Slade led 31 laps. McLaughlin qualified second in the top 10 shootout. And Scott McLaughlin finished his third championship season of his career, 3 in a row for Scotty, the Kiwi, who is reportedly planning to race full-time in the States next year, whether that's IndyCar. It looks like IndyCar full-time next year.
Yeah.
Maybe. Especially since he's about to race at St. Pete this weekend for St. Petersburg Grand Prix.
And also, there's also talks about maybe running some NASCAR races in 2021. We'll see. We'll see what he does in 2021.
McLaughlin completed a near perfect season in 2020. Finishing sixth in the Bathurst 1000, Scott Pye and Tim Slade.
Tim Slade?
Dink Fior, my bad.
I was about to say, I didn't know that Tim Slade drove the 17 and the 20. I was about to say, only you're not allowed to drive, I'm like, wait. I was confused. I'm like, oh, yeah. Tim Slade didn't drive 2 cars. Only drove 1.
Right. Yeah, Dean Fior's best career finish in the Bathurst 1000 times 2. He picked up a 6th place finish in 2016 in the Bathurst 1000, a race where Jamie Whincup and Paul Dumbrell was time penalized out of a potential win, which gave the win to Will Davison. All right, moving down the list. Lee Holtzworth, Michael Crusoe.
Yep.
7th after starting 5th. Mark Winterbottom and James Golding finished 8th. Now, James Golding's best finish in the Bathurst 1000 was yesterday, so well done for Golding, who is reportedly still searching for a full-time ride. There may be some offers for James next year.
We'll see.
Right about that. 9th place, Anton DePasquale and Brody Kostecki, both drivers, pick up their best finish in the Bathurst 1000 for the Penrite Racing team, which is part of Eurobus Motorsport in Holden. And 10th place, James Courtney Brockfini. Brockfini's debut in Supercars for Boost Mobile Racing in Tickford, the Ford Mustang. Now, Courtney has confirmed he will be back next year, the 2010 Series champion. 11th, Andre Heimgartner and Dylan O'Keefe. Dylan O'Keefe's best career finish in Supercars total in his Bathurst debut for Kelly Racing. 12th place, Alex Davison finished 12th with co-driver Jonathan Webb, who makes his first start in 2020. Macaulay Jones, Tim Blanchard for Brad Jones Racing, and Tim Blanchard, the team Macaulay's father owns. He had some controversy in the event. Jones brought out safety car that resulted in contact with his teammate. Nick Percat, and it was just a very, very awkward situation, especially when it's a family-owned team and just things like that happen. So very unfortunate and just part of Bathurst, I guess.
Yep.
Jack LeBrock and James Moffitt finished 14th, 15th. David Reynolds and Will Brown. Now, Will Brown's best finish in the 1000, but surely they had a better chance of finishing better than they did in the race. Had they not run into trouble, they were the first car one lap down. Chris Pither, Steve Owen finished 16th. Rick Kelly, Dale Wood for Kelly Racing. Nick Percat, Thomas Reynolds had a heartbreaking mechanical failure for Brad Jones Racing. In 19th was the wild card entry, Tyler Everingham and Jaden Ojeda. Welcome back, Gary Rogers Motorsport. Two Super 2 drivers. Learned some tough lessons at Bathurst, to say the least.
Indeed.
Both their debut. And they were the last cars to finish the race. So first retirement were Matt Stone Racing, number 34, Jake Kostecki, Zane Goodard. They actually split the car for the entirety of the season. They crashed on lap 155. Jack Smith, Jack Perkins for Brad Jones Racing, lap 149. They retired out of the race. Bryce Fullwood, Kurt Kostecki, lap 147. An accident for Waukesha and Geordie United. Gary Jacobson, David Russell had an engine failure on lap 62. Todd Hazelwood, Jordan Boys on lap 50. They had an accident for Brad Jones Racing. And lastly, Jamie Wincup, Craig Lowndes for AAA, Car AAA and AAA Race Engineering.
Yep.
A very sudden end to a highly anticipated race for Craig Lowndes. Trying to get that 8th win. It will have to wait another year. Craig Lowndes, 2 wins from tying the king of the mountain, which is none other than Peter Brock.
Huh.
So vibes. Any news on Jimmy Johnson? Well, Jimmy Johnson, he'll race IndyCar next year, part-time for Chip Ganassi Racing on road courses and street courses.
Huh. I'm actually looking here. I figured out there's a couple people that are confirmed for next year in Supercars. There's only one Ford Mustang team confirmed, which is the Tickford. Holdsworth will drive the 5 and the 44 of James Courtney. Brad Jones Racing is running a Commodore, manufacturers TBD. Perkats will still drive the 8. Mark Winterbottom stays in the 18. Eurobis will have Reynolds in the 9. Will Brown, he's promoted up to Supercars with an unknown number. Walkinshaw Andretti has Bryce Fullwood and Mostert, and then 888 Race Engineering has Wyncup and Van Gisbergen for the 2021 season. Those are teams confirmed. Nobody else is confirmed, but just to give a heads up.
So, before we move any further about the Bathurst 1000, let's take a brief look at the final standings, and then we'll highlight Holden and why their departure means much more than it just really has. And it's just something like you don't notice. You can't really you have to appreciate things before they go. I guess that's what the lesson is. But before we discuss Holden and their departure, let's take a look at the final standings. As before mentioned, Scott McLaughlin completes his third title, 2018-2019 for the Drivers' Championship. Cam Waters, second. Shane Van Gisbergen, third. Jamie Wyncup, fourth. Chaz Mostert, fifth. Fabio Quatararo, Nick Percat, Anton DePasquale, Scott Pye, Mark Winterbottom.
I was gonna say Mike Winterbottom. Is that a secret? Is that a secret cousin we don't know about?
Oh, it's Mark Winterbottom. He finished 10th in the Drivers' Championship. In the Teams Championship, DJR Team Penske, third title, 2017, 2019, and of course 2020.
Yeah.
888 Race Engineering, the Red Bull Holden Racing team, finished second. They had a shot to win not the Constructors, but the Teams Championship this year, entering Bathurst, but mathematically they were almost out of it from the very get-go.
Yeah.
Tickford Racing, third, and the second Tickford Racing, the one that had the 23 red entry before they closed, that entry, third and fourth for them, but third for the main Tickford Racing.
Yeah, the thing that's interesting about the Supercars, they have Tickford Racing is the 5 and the 6. The other one is called Truck Assist and Boost Mobile Racing, which is the 44 and the 55. That's how they... Tickford is the Monster Energy number 6 and the number 5 together. And then you have... It's the same thing with Brad Jones Racing. You have the 3 and 4. And then the other one's the 8 and the 14. Stuff like that.
Right. 2 cars make a team in Supercars for a season.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. 5th was Eurobis Motorsport. That race to Bathurst certainly set them back a little bit.
Yeah.
Charles Schwarkel Racing, Walkinshaw Andretti United, Brad Jones Racing, the first entry.
Yeah.
Kelly Racing and the Tim Blanchard Brad Jones entry.
Yeah, the 3 and the 4 behind the 8 and the 14.
Ford Mustang GT won the Manufacturers Championship. It was clinched after the Bend, Part 2, and Holden Commodore ZB finished second there. Sports Series Super 2. Thomas Randall, MW Motorsport, and Nissan Altima won the championship in Super 2. Ozzy Tintops, Giovanni Pudaichi Racing. For Porsche 911 GT3R, historic racing cars, Jamie Tilley for Tilley Racing, the father-son combo in the Ford Mustang, the retro vintage car division. Tim Brook, Toyota 86, Cooper Murray, Porsche Carrera Cup, and the Esports Super Supercars Series actually starts on the 28th of October. It's a 6-week championship, so have your eye on that. But yeah, there's the support series for this year, and obviously Super 3 was just a combined series with Super 2. There wasn't a structured championship, but they just shared the track with Super 2 for the teams able to make it.
Yeah.
Super Utes didn't race this season. They might be back next year.
Yeah.
But let's now highlight Holden. The Holden dealer team was the mecca of Bathurst at one point. In fact, it was owned by Peter Brock, and Peter Brock was the guy, number 05 Peter Brock in Marlboro. Can't have that anymore because rules. And Bathurst was just an easy victory. 9 wins in the Bathurst 1000. And then, of course, AAA. But here's the thing that Holden fans and Ford fans can agree with. Whether you're strong for Ford or you're strong for Holden, you can at least have some compassion for the Holden fans. They didn't ask for the brand to go. They didn't ask for employees to lose their jobs 3 years ago when cars were exclusively imported after the production of the VF Commodore finished. But the Holden brand stayed around just for 3 extra years. And in their final factory-supported active Bathurst 1000, they may be back or not, depending on the nameplate for next year. And yes, the Commodore ZP is a rebadged Holden. Which is the older neighbor's Buick Regal in the States.
Right.
Yeah.
It's still called Holden Commodore.
Yeah.
The cooldown lap was really when it hit fans. With that flag, man. It's that tiger flag, the lion actually, lion.
Yeah, that's when it really hit me. I felt a little bit emotional, being that I saw that flag, but I'm still time. I was like, you know what? They have come so far and have left an amazing legacy on Australian motorsports, especially mostly supercars.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right. But no matter what happens from here on, at least we can look back at Shane Van Gisbergen's win and Garth Tander's victory and take solidarity. That's how they went out, where they started. 34 wins, more than any other manufacturer in the Bathurst 1000. So, next 2 years from now, the Gen 3 supercars will come into effect. The Chevy Camaro ZL1 is confirmed.
Yep.
It looks great. I love that car.
Yeah,
absolutely. I love it too. Especially with the wheels, man. The wheels. Oh my god.
Okay. So let's move on and get into sports cars. The only sports car race of the week that we're going to highlight is the IMSA Petit Le Mans, the 9th round of the 11-race WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, the third of 4 races in the Michelin Endurance Cup. Justin, what was the reason behind all the controversy at the end?
The controversy. Okay, there was a battle for the lead between the number 31 Whelen Engineering Racing Cadillac and the number 7 ARCA Team Penske Acura. They were going at it really hard for lead until the number 7 turned the 31 Cadillac around, giving the lead to the number 10 Cadillac, and then that caused a safety car, and then the race, they had a restart, just a normal restart, and then the number 9-12 crashed out, and then the race ended under caution, but there was contact. The number 7 turned the number 31, which Pippo, yeah, he was not happy with Ricky Taylor because Ricky was in that 7 car. Yeah, they were not happy. Pippo Durrani was certainly not happy. He was leading the race.
They had a chance to win.
But then
huge chance to win that event.
Oh, they had
no, even a podium. They were stuck in the gravel and finished 5th.
Yeah, that number, and then with the yellow ending the race, like another yellow, that's how the number 10 Wayne Taylor Racing Cadillac got the victory.
It's their 3rd win in Petit Le Mans. They tie Peugeot, and they also tied the 2 Audi teams, Audi Sport Germany and Audi Sport North America, the 2 factory teams that used to be there in 2000s, and then the ADG Champion Racing Team, the South Florida-based Audi.
Oh, yeah.
LMP1 team. So, now there are 3 teams. No team has won more than 3 times in the Petit Le Mans in its 22-year history. But it might change depending on the performance and the dominance of these endurance races for Wayne Taylor Racing and the Konica Moto Cadillac, driven by Scott Dixon, Ryan Briscoe, and Rhaegar van der Zand.
Yeah. Which they're just like, it's just so interesting how I've been noticing that team, they're just better at the endurance races compared to the sprint races this year. Like, anytime you go to an endurance race, you see that 10 car up there fighting. Which I feel like when they go, they're actually moving to Acura in 2021.
Yeah.
They might continue the dominance with Acura.
I'm just looking at classification. They completed 460 laps.
Yeah.
Race. There were only 4 cars that finished on the lead lap. So all of the podium except for 1. And 2nd place in the DPI class was the number 7 Acura Team Penske, which they had the contact. And then the 6 Acura Team Penske. They were up front early in the race.
Until they...
The Juan Pablo Montoya, Dane Cameron, Simon Pagenaud entry.
Remember, Joseph. Remember what happened to them early in the race. Remember when the 77 got hit by the 63? And the 77 got on the wall? The 6 was in the grass. They were parked in the grass. I'm like, why is the 6 in the grass randomly? Which... I don't know why the 6 was there in the first place. I know the 77 got hit by the 63 Ferrari, but the 6 was in the grass for some reason.
All right. Fourth place outside the podium, the number 5 JDC Miller Motorsport Cadillac. Fifth place, number 31 Wheeling Engineering Cadillac for Action Express, the car that almost won. Sixth place and seventh place, the Mazda Motorsports DPI's number 55 over the number 77. They had problems throughout the 10-hour race, and not classified in eighth, the number 85 JDC Miller Motorsports Cadillac. After these problems, they actually were part of the first safety car that was out.
Yeah, I remember that safety car, yeah.
LMP2 class, the LMP2 class only had 4 entries this time, and it was Tower Motorsports by Starworks. All the cars in the class were ARCA 07, just to get that out of the way. That car driven by John Ferrano, Mikkel Jensen, and John Van Utier. The trio managed to have a 5-lap victory over the Performance Tech Motorsports number 38. Third place, many laps down, was the number 51 Inter Europol competition, ARCA, and not classified was the number 52 PR1 Matheson Motorsports, ARCA, which they were actually in a position to dominate that event. They do indeed lead the Michelin Endurance Cup. GT classes will start with GTLM, and Porsche needed this win. In terms of their IMSA performances, they've gone winless this year.
Yeah.
And after everything that they dealt with since the 24 Hours of Le Mans, this win for Frederick Makavicki, Matt Campbell, and Nick Tandy can go a long way in terms of motivation for the trio, the 911 Porsche GT team.
Yeah.
Completed 431 laps just by reading classification there. Second place, the number 3 Corvette Racing team, Nicky Katzberg, Antonio Garcia, and Jordan Taylor finished second. And outside in the last step of the podium, number 24 BMW team RLL, John Edwards, Augusto Farfus, Jesse Krohn for the M8. Fourth place, last car to finish, was the number 4 Corvette Racing Chevrolet, and then 2 cars not classified, number 912 Porsche GT team and the number 25 BMW team RLL. I predicted a Porsche to win.
I picked the 25 because they're like, oh, they're good at the endurance races. The first time I picked them, I remember the first time they don't win an endurance race. And that's the only time I picked them at an endurance race they don't win.
Right. And lastly, the GT Daytona class, which is the GT3 category. The number 63 Scuderia Corsa Ferrari won in GT Daytona, driven by Alessandro Balzan, Cooper McNeil, and Jeff Westphal. And the WeatherTech livery, that car completed 413 laps to win. They finished 17th overall. Second was the number 14 Ambassador Sullivan Lexus RCF GT3. Jack Hawksworth, Michael DeCasada, and Aaron Telitz drove that car. Third place on the final step of the podium, the number 44 GRT Magnus Racing Team Lamborghini, driven by Spencer Propelli, Andy Lally, and John Potter. The All-American team managed to finish on the podium. In fact, they have a good chance to catch up in the Michelin Endurance Cup, which we'll discuss in a little bit. Fourth place, the number 16 Wright Motorsports Porsche. Fifth place, welcome back, Pfaff Motorsports.
Number 9.
Yes, that 9 Porsche. Fifth place in the return race after not having any ability to race in the States.
Yep.
And the 6th spot, number 57 Heinrecher Racing with Michael Meyershank Racing, Kerber Johnny and Agajani and NSX GT3. And 7th place was the number 48 Paul Miller Racing Lamborghini. Now they are still on top just by 9 points in the Michelin Endurance Cup. That's where we're going to lead into now. The Michelin Endurance Cup has one more race. That's on the 14th of November, the 12 Hours of Sebring. Wayne Taylor Racing Cadillac, they lead the Michelin Endurance Cup. They have 33 points compared to the number 31 Whelen Cadillac, 28 points. Number 7 ARCA Team Penske and the number 6 ARCA Team Penske, they are tied for third, as well as the number 77 Mazda Motorsports DPI. All three of them have 25 points as we speak. So Wayne Taylor Racing almost there. They're close to clinching it.
But they still have, before focusing on Sebring, they have a short sprint race at on November 1st. Not this weekend, the next weekend. Yeah. And also, I could tell you that me and Joseph's picks didn't go too well in the GTD class. I picked the 74, you picked the 30. They didn't do too well.
30 retired early from that race.
The 74 just was not doing good. They just were not that good compared to what I thought they would be.
It's just a struggle, I guess. And it happens. Endurance racing, you can be there at the start, but you have to be there in the end.
Yeah, it's like 10 hours. It's like the person leading, like it's not a sprint race, like an hour 40 minute or 2 hour 40 minute. It's a 10-hour race. You're not gonna. It's not like, oh, Pole Sitter's gonna win. No, 2019 the Mazdas. I remember the Mazdas were fast. They both had issues and retired out of the race and lost the race.
Yes. Okay. The GT classes, there's still Porsche 1 and 2 in the Michelin Endurance Cup, just by 3 points, and then BMW 24-25. They are -6 and -7 in the points. And the Corvettes, of course, they struggled in the Michelin Endurance Cup, but they're still very good in terms of the overall championship.
Yeah.
Or not overall in but I'm talking about like the overall season.
Yeah, like they're just like after the pandemic, Corvette started clicking with the C8R. Like you saw what they started doing with the Daytona, like the second Daytona race after the pandemic, and then they started clicking off wins.
Right. And as for GT Daytona, it is still Paul Miller Racing and Lamborghini. They have 35 points.
Yep.
Meyer-Shank Racing, number 86, Acura, 26 points. And then in third place, tied for third, is the 44 GRT Magnus Racing Team, Lamborghini, and the number 63 Scuderia Corsa Ferrari, 26 points each, and then 23 points. When fourth is number 14, Mr. Sullivan Lexus RCF GT3. So, as for their next race, it is in 2 weeks' time. In terms of the whole season, that is the Laguna Seca race, the final sprint race of the season. So, for the GT, it's the final race of the WeatherTech Sprint Cup. And in terms of the next Michelin Endurance Cup race is on the 14th of November, so just a little less than a month from now, 12 hours of Sebring in the fourth and final race of that championship. All right. So let's move on. And that leaves us with just 2 other races to discuss, and then we will start the race previews at Texas and Formula 1 and all that.
Wait, Joseph. By the way, it's that race at Laguna Seca is not just GTs and it's not just DTs. It's all classes.
Yeah, all classes.
DPIs and LMP2s will be there too. But this is like it's only I think. Let me check how long it is. Come on, nope. I don't want the fastest lap. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Come on.
What are you looking for?
It's a 2 hour 40-minute race. It's from
sprint race.
Yeah. It's not an hour 40, but it's 2 hours 40, which is it's not a long race. But if people have Track Pass, you'll have to use it because it's on Track Pass. But we'll find Twitch streams.
We know our ways.
Yep.
All right. So sports cars out of the way. All right. First, MotoGP, and then second, ARCA, we'll start with MotoGP
Yeah.
in terms of some other races. That is the
Yeah.
Aragon Motorcycle Grand Prix, which is a replacement to the Turkish Grand Prix that was supposed to happen this year. Oh, and as well as the Thailand Grand Prix, which was the initial rescheduled date, and then that was moved. And so Aragon Circuit, the Gran Premio Michelin de Aragon, is the name of the race, formal name, in Alcañiz, Spain, which is where the circuit is located. Alex Rins ended up winning that race, and it was the first win for Suzuki this season. Team Suzuki X-Star. They also had he also had the fastest lap, and then aside from that bunch, then Alex Marquez, yes, the younger brother of Marc Marquez, gets his second career podium in the World Championship of Grand Prix motorcycle racing. So very impressive for the younger Marquez. That's his older brother, Marc Marquez, still in progress of recovery from that season-opening injury. John Mir for Suzuki, they finished. That team finished third. So all Spanish podium. Maverick Vinales fourth. Takaki Nakagami fifth, and I'll just list the rest of the points finishers, first through 15th. Franco Morbidelli, Andrea Dovizioso, Cal Cottrell, Jack Miller, Joan Zarco, Brad Binder, Paul Espargaro, Alix Espargaro, Iker Lusuonia, Daniela Petrucci. At the last point, Fabio Quatararo, who started on pole. This is the big story now. Quatararo had a serious crash in free practice 3, resulting in an injury. While he qualified on pole, Quatararo was out of shape, just physically and mentally. Ran the race at slow speed, tiptoeing around the circuit, which resulted in a 18th place finish, the third to last of the finishers in the race, aside from Francesco Bagnaia, who crashed out on lap 2. So Quatararo lost the points lead.
Whoa.
John Deere has the points lead, 121 points. Quatararo still sits at 115 because he didn't get any points this year. Or not this year, this race. But it certainly hurt his progress. Maverick Vinales, 109 points in third. Andrea Dovizioso, fourth, 106 points. And Nakagami's fifth, 92 points. It's so close. I've never seen MotoGP this close before until the absence of Marc Marquez.
Yeah.
As far as the Riders' Championship is concerned now, in the Manufacturers' Championship, Yamaha leads that with 183 points. Ducati, second, 160 points. Now, Suzuki, they finally prevailed and get a win in 2020 yesterday. They're third, 143 points. KTM, 130 points in fourth. Honda, still winless this year. 2 second-place finishes in the last 2 races. They are fifth, 112 points. And Aprilia is sixth with just 35 points, struggling to get those points finishes. The team's championship it's so close now. The Team Suzuki X-Star actually took the team's championship lead with the 206 points. Just 4 points back, 202 points. Petronas Yamaha SRT in third. Third, Ducati team, 171 points. Fourth place, the Monster Energy Yamaha MotoGP entry, 167 points. And fifth, the Red Bull KTM Factory Racing, 144 points. Now, the big story here was the race, but it was actually Valentino Rossi. Valentino Rossi, who is still seeking his 200th career podium and his 90th win as a professional motorcycle racer, tested positive for COVID-19, and that resulted in his absence from the Aragon Grand Prix. So we'll keep everyone posted on our social media accounts about the Valentino Rossi situation, and we wish him nothing but the best. So yeah, their next race will be on the 25th of October, the Gran Premio Liquimoli di Tiro at the same track in Alcañiz, Spain, the Motorland Aragon, as another Grand Prix. I guess you call that a makeup race, another makeup race, and that's going to be round 11 of 14. They will get a week off on the 1st, and they'll be back on the 8th, the 15th, and close the season of Portimao on the 22nd. So off week for MotoGP, and then it's a rush to the end and a very exciting championship.
Oh my gosh. Could tell you, I don't know who was working at Racing Reference, but they made a mistake in the ARCA owner standings.
Yeah.
Interesting mistake. They added a number too high. Instead of saying 1041, they have 10,000 points for the 18. I'm like, okay, he did 10,000 points. I'm like, no, that's not possible. I don't know.
255 tires in the 2011 Brickyard 400.
Oh yeah, that was ESPN. ESPN. I don't know what they did.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
All right, and that's what you're right. We're gonna finish this off on ARCA, the 20th and final race of the 2020 ARCA Menard Series Championship, the Kansas 150. Corey Heim for Andy Hillenberg.
Yeah.
And Bill Venerini led 82 laps en route to his first career win. In fact, that's the first win for the 17-year-old Corey Heim. But as for Andy Hillenberg and ownership status, first win in ARCA since 1995 when Andy himself won.
Wow.
At Flat Rock in the 1995 ARCA Bondo Marhide Series.
Yeah.
Miller Genuine Draft 150.
Wow. That's a while. Long time ago.
So congrats to them and Venerini for putting the card together. Bret Holmes. Now, Bret Holmes from Auburn University, the team that he created from his back pocket and his family, Bret Holmes Racing, led 18 laps. He clinched his first championship in ARCA. How about that?
And also, remember at the early part of the season, they didn't even know if they were going to go full-time. They didn't know if they would, but they decided to stick it out one, and they were consistent this season. I know there's no playoffs in ARCA because that's ARCA, but you need consistency in ARCA. Bret Holmes showed his consistency this season.
I think the pandemic helped them save money.
Yep.
They had no intention on running the full season to begin with, so they've had some extra dollars to save, and then about 2.5 months later,
they
showed up to Talladega.
Yeah, and they got the points lead. They were battling after Michael Self had mistakes towards the end of the season. That's where Holmes took the points lead, and he almost lost it at some points, but Bret Holmes still kept the points lead after the race at Illinois but it was 8 points. But Bret Holmes, he showed his
consistency.
Yes, because I know Michael Self was driving for Venerini, but there's some races where Holmes is more consistent leading laps. While some races Michael Self just had not been solid compared to Bret Holmes in some races.
Right, and for the second year in a row, Michael Self, after leading the majority of the season, finished second in the Drivers' Championship. He lost by 12 points, but let's just get into the race for a little while. The final running order, the top 10 in the race was Derek Griffith, Dylan Lupton, Michael Self, Haley Deegan, Chris Wright, Drew Dollar, Scott Melton, Eric Cardell, and 14th place Ty Gibbs finished 14th after starting on pole, and that means Ty Gibbs, Coy Gibbs, and Joe Gibbs Racing, they clinched the Owners' Championship. So well done for them, and as well as Riley Herbst, who helped them through a win at Talladega.
At Talladega, Michigan. Yeah, Drew Dollar won at Talladega.
I'm not. Riley Herbst almost won Talladega.
Yeah, but he won Michael Self, and that's how Drew Dollar won. But Riley Herbst did win Michigan in the 18 car.
All right.
And, yep.
So the final standings in the points. Bret Holmes, 12 points, was enough for him to win the championship. Unfortunately, for Michael Self, he lost by 12 points. Haley Deegan finished third. So highest forward, Haley Deegan.
Yep.
Fourth, Drew Dollar. Fifth, Ty Gibbs, despite running part-time.
Yep.
Sixth place, Brad Smith, the journeyman driver, owner driver, who managed to get his first top 10 in history.
Yeah.
For him.
Yep.
Sam Mayer, 7th in the overall ARCA Championship. Chad Moffitt, 8th. Chandler Smith, 9th. And Mike Basham, 10th. All right, here's some superlatives. As I mentioned, Owners' Championship, number 18, Joe Gibbs Racing, Monster Energy Toyota Camry, supplied by Coy Gibbs.
Yeah.
Rookie of the Year, Haley Deegan, who has announced her 2021 plans to race in the NASCAR Truck Series for David Gilliland and Bola Massis for DJR Crosley Racing and Ford next year. Sioux Chief Showdown Challenge winner, Sam Mayer. Mayer also won the E-Series title just a few weeks back.
Yeah.
Pole award. Chandler Smith won the pole award at most poles in the season at 4. Bounty Rookie Challenge winner, Ty Gibbs, won the most of the Bounty Rookie Challenge, 4 races total. The Halfway Leader Award, Ty Gibbs won that. Won 6 times, as well as the Lap Leader Award. Ty Gibbs won that 6 times. And Sam Mayer won the Hart Charger Award 3 times this year. So they're the superlatives.
Also, I want to say, for the owners, Coy Gibbs won it over Stacy Holmes, the owner of the 23. Then Kathy Venerinis, number 25. Then Billy Venerinis, number 20. Top 5 was 17. David Gillens, number 17. Then David Gillens, number 4. Bill Venerinis, number 15. Michelle Hillenberg's number 12. Andy Hillenberg's number 10. And rounding out the top 10 in the Owners' Championship is the number 06 of Wayne Peterson.
And we hope for the best for Wayne Peterson, as the day after their ARCA finale, their car was actually stolen. Stolen from the Kansas City hotel.
Yeah, which is really unfortunate, and people are laughing about it. But the thing about their team's underfunded. They can't keep up in the draft at Talladega and Daytona. I remember looking at Wayne Peterson sometimes. Some of their decals are weird. You have a 0 that's circular and the 6 is a different font. They're not funded like some of these other teams. They're
just there to make a living, and that's in the end what grassroots racing is all about.
Yeah.
All right. Following that, we are going to preview some NASCAR racing. We'll go in depth on the playoff drivers at Texas Motor Speedway. We'll first start with the Texas 500, the final 500-mile race of the NASCAR Cup Series season, round 34-36, the second race in the round of 8. The Xfinity Series Texas 300, race 31-33, the penultimate race of the round of 8 for them. The NASCAR Truck Series Texas 400-kilometer event is the second race in the round of 8, 21st race of the season.
Yeah.
Formula One returns for the Portuguese Grand Prix. First time since 1996. There'll be a Portuguese Grand Prix first time ever, at the Portimao circuit in Grand Prix history. IndyCar season finale, the 14th and final race of the 2020 championship, St. Petersburg Grand Prix. There's still a championship to be decided between Scott Dixon, 5-time champion Scott Dixon, and 2-time champion Joseph Newgarden. In terms of sports cars, the NLS, formerly known as VLN, the homebound Nürburgring Championship, 4 hours on Nürburgring, round 6 of 8, and the 24 hours of Spa, the third of 4 races in the Intercontinental GT Challenge. Let's begin with NASCAR. So the Texas 500, this year's winner, Austin Dillon, he won in the summer. And for the last 3 races in the fall, Kevin Harvick won, and that's a very important record because he's going to need that this weekend. First race was held in 1997. Jeff Burton took the checkered flag. Jimmy Johnson, entering Texas for the final time in his full-time Cup Series racing career, he won this race 7 times. Yes, just like the number of his championships. Carl Edwards has 4 wins here. Carl Edwards 4 victories, including his final win back in 2016. Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, and Kevin Harvick share 3 wins at Texas, while Greg Biffle, Jeff Burton, and Matt Kenseth and Tony Stewart have 2 wins. Most team wins in the fall. Hendrick Motorsports with 5, Stewart-Haas Racing 4, Joe Gibbs Racing 3, and Roush Fenway Racing 2. In the manufacturers category in the fall, Chevrolet holds top honors with 7 victories. Ford has 5 wins, Toyota 2, and Dodge with 1. So, Justin, there are the numbers.
Yeah.
What we're going to do for this rate and for all the races in the round of 8, including the final 4, is look at all the drivers in the round of 8 and their past history at Texas Motor Speedway at this track. Review the NASCAR playoffs, Texas Motor Speedway. We know that Joey Logano is into the final 4, so we don't have to talk about Logano. But for the other 7 drivers in the championship, it's a challenge now. It's a bigger challenge. We're going to highlight the drivers, starting with Kevin Harvick. Justin, I'll let you go ahead and read off Kevin Harvick's stats at Texas Motor Speedway.
Okay. In all, Harvick at Texas, he has 35 starts. He has 3 wins, 12 top 5s, 23 top 10s, 31 top 20, 654 laps. Led 2 poles here. He has an average start of 15.4 and an average finish of 10.23. His best finish here is first. His worst finish here is 42nd, and he has 1 DNF. Which, Kevin Harvick, let me go into his stats at Texas, debrief. Kevin Harvick's first start was on April 1st, 2001. That was before the second race existed. Kevin Harvick started 33rd and finished 7th, led 0 laps. 2002, started 25th, finished 25th, led 2 laps. 2003, started 8th, finished 15th, led 0 laps. 2004, he started 22nd and finished 13th, led 0 laps. In 2005, in April, started 17th, finished 13th, led 0 laps. The first race that they had the second Texas race in 2005. Kevin Harvick started 33rd, finished 16th, led a lap. 2006 in the spring, started 24th, got a top 5, got 5th place, he led a lap. Then the second race in 2006, started 21st, finished 3rd, led 0 laps. Then 2007 in April, he started 11th, finished 29th, led no laps. November of 2007, he started 4th, finished 10th, led no laps. Then after that, in 2008, started 21st, finished 11th. Then in November of 2008, started 23rd, finished 7th. Then in April 2009, started 17th, finished 27th. 2009 in November, started 24th, finished 5th. 2010 in April, started 19th, finished 7th. In November 2010, started 26th, finished 6th. 2011 in April, started 29th, finished 20th. November, started 21st, finished 13th. Then we're here now, April 2012. He started 15th, finished 9th. November 2012, started 23rd, finished 9th. Okay, then 2013, started 29th, finished 13th. And then his final race with RCR at Texas, he started 19th, finished 8th. And then April of 2014, he started 3rd, finished 42nd, led a lap. He had an engine issue. Then in November, he started 5th, finished 2nd to Jimmy Johnson. He led 2 laps. 2015, in April, he started 2nd, finished 2nd to Jimmy Johnson. He led 96 laps. November 2015, he started 2nd, finished 3rd behind Jimmy Johnson and Brad Keselowski. 2016, he led a lap by starting 22nd. He finished 10th. Then 2016 in November, he started 3rd and finished 6th, led no laps. 2017 April, started on the pole, finished 4th, led 70. He finished 4th in stage 1, stage 2 finished 7th, and then he also led 77 laps. His first win in the fall, his first win here was 2017. He started 3rd, led 38 laps and won stage 1 and finished 2nd in stage 2. He led 38 laps to win. In 2018 in April, finished 2nd. He started 2nd, finished 2nd, led 87 laps after winning stage 1. November 2018, his second win here, he started 3rd, won both stages and led 177 laps. Then March of 2019, he started 23rd, led no laps, and finished 8th. Last November, he started on the pole, won stage 1, finished 6th in stage 2, 119 laps led, and he finished 1st. And his recent race, which was last time we went here, he started 5th, finished 3rd in stage 1, 5th in stage 2, led 40 laps to get 5th place.
All right, I want to highlight something about Kevin Harvick here at Texas, and it goes back a long way since his debut in 2001. Between 2001 and 2014, he qualified in the top 10 twice. Kevin Harvick, between his debut at Texas in 2001 till his last race at British Racing in 2013, he qualified in the top 10 just twice.
And he won't.
How far he's come.
Yeah, because after that, since being at Stewart-Haas, his worst start has been 23rd. Other than that, his starts at Stewart-Haas Racing are 3rd, 5th, 2nd, 22nd, 3rd, 1st, 3rd, 2nd, 2nd, 3rd, 23rd, 1st, and 5th.
Yes, and I want to highlight something else. From the races that Kevin Harvick ran until 2015, when he finished 2nd in the spring race, Harvick never led more than 10 laps in a Texas NASCAR Cup Series race until 96 laps in 2015.
Yeah, because he led 2 laps in 2014, 1 lap in April of 2014, 1 lap in 2010 in November, in 2000 at the second Texas race in 2005 and the first race of 2006 at Texas, he led a lap, and he led 2 laps in his second start at Texas in 2002.
Yeah, that race in 2006 actually had a physical altercation between members of M&M Motorsports and Eric's team.
Oh yeah.
Fines from both.
Yeah.
Contact with Scott Riggs.
I just realized that Harvick's most laps led I've just noticed this trend that Kevin Harvick has led more laps in the fall races than the spring.
Yeah, in fact, his only 3 wins were the last 3 fall races at Texas. That's a very good trend if you're a Kevin Harvick fan.
Yep.
Yeah, Harvick enters this race plus 41 above the cut line. Now let's go ahead and move to the next driver in the NASCAR playoffs in the order. Denny Hamlin. Now, Denny Hamlin, like Kevin Harvick, has 3 wins at Texas. And I'm going to pull up his stats and I'll go ahead.
I actually have them up here. Okay, yes. I'm actually have them in front of me right now. He has 29 starts. Okay, 3 wins, 7 top 5s, 13 top 10s, 23 top 20s, 288 laps led, average start 13.5, average finish 13.97, 1 pole. His worst finish here is 38th. Yeah.
All right, and so let's look at Hamlin year by year. 2005 as a part-time driver, getting ready for 2006, driving for Joe Gibbs Racing. His debut, a 7th place finish after starting 14th. Hamlin finished 4th after leading 41 laps in 2006, nearly getting his first career win. He finished 4th in that event.
Yeah.
Denny Hamlin finished 10th in 2006 to complete his Rookie of the Year season. 2007, a 9th place finish.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like that finish in the fall really didn't help him.
He led 45 laps, just 4 better than the previous fall or the spring of 06. Hamlin finished 29th. 2008, Hamlin finished 5th, while starting and finishing 17th in the fall of that year race, which was won by Carl Edwards. It swept by Carl Edwards in 2008. 2009, Hamlin finished 12th, but led 2 laps, nearly winning the race that was dominated by the Busch brothers.
In the fall he led, but not in the spring. The spring he didn't lead.
Yeah, you caught me there. Yeah. Let's just say the Busch brothers led more than 300 laps that race between Kurt and Kyle Busch. Kurt won that event. It came down to fuel mileage, I remember, back in 5th grade in 2009. Denny Hamlin fell short. In 2010, he swept. Hamlin led 12 laps to win the first time, and the second time he led 31 laps in a very important victory that nearly got Hamlin his first championship in 2010. Hamlin, of course, still without a title as we speak. 2011, Denny Hamlin started 23rd, finished 15th. 2011 again,
November
finish. And then this is where we see a downfall a little bit here. 2012, no top 10s. From the win in 2010 until 2013 in the spring.
Spring?
Oh, the fall, I meant.
Remember, Hamlin missed the race in the spring. Remember, his injury.
Yes. Thanks for catching me.
Brian Vickers drove the 11. Yes. I just remembered. Yeah, I just remembered about that.
Mm-hmm. Hamlin finished 7th in that event. 2014, Hamlin led 20 laps after starting 6th and finishing 13th. In the fall race, he led 3 laps and finished 10th en route to nearly winning a championship that year as well. 2015, Hamlin had an abysmal time at Texas, finishing 11th and then 38th in the first and second races.
but he was running in 38, like he was still in the race. But when we go up in a little bit, you'll see he has one finish that he didn't finish at Texas.
2016, 12th and the 9th, he led one lap in the fall, race won by teammate at the time, Carl Edwards. 2017, Hamlin finished 25th after leading 65 laps in the spring race, but in the fall race,
he led 65.
In the fall race, I meant Hamlin finished third.
He led 65 in the fall. He didn't lead any.
Yeah,
but 2018, this is where I was talking about that non-finish in April. Yeah, Denny Hamlin, 2018. 2018 was not a good year.
No.
In the spring race. He started 5th. He led 12 laps until he crashed and finished 34th. And then he started 6th, didn't lead any laps. He started 6th and finished 30th. But then, March 2019, he rebounded he started 6th, won stage 2, led 45 laps to win the race. But then the last 2 times he's been to Texas, it's been not the best. In November, he started 3rd, led 0 laps, finished 28th. And then here in the recent race here, he started 7th, finished 3rd in stage 2. He led 11 laps and finished 20th after getting in Alex Bowman late in the race. Yeah, so the last 2 races, not the best finishes for Denny Hamlin.
All right, so moving down the list is Brad Keselowski. Now, Keselowski is +8 above the cut line here. Keselowski's debut in Texas was 2008 as a Hendrick development driver, racing full-time for Junior Motorsports in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Keselowski finished 19th.
I actually have his full stats here at Texas. He has 24 starts. In 24 starts, he has... Whoa. What? Is this actually true? Am I reading this right? He has... Wait, did...
Brad's never won at Texas.
But why does it... Brad's never won at Texas.
No.
Okay, I thought I was... Okay.
You're thinking about Atlanta.
Yeah. Brad Keselowski has 24 starts here, 0 wins, 5 top 5s, 9 top 10s, 16 top 20s, 654 laps led, average start of 14.8, average finish is 17.33. His worst finish here is 39th, which is interesting that... Oh, goodness.
Let me just see. So
Now I'm seeing his stats.
All right, we're gonna go race by race here. 2008, 2009, part-time driver for Hendrick Motorsports.
The 25.
2008, 19th, and 2009, 23rd.
Okay, then.
His debut for Penske at Texas, a 35th place finish, followed by a 14th and a 33rd. His numbers don't look good.
Oh gosh.
Hold on for a second, Justin. I'm just trying to see something here. The 2011 spring race, Keselowski led 32 laps but finished 18th. In 2012, a dueling battle against Jimmy Johnson for the championship, he fell just shy of the win, leading 75 laps. That's the closest Keselowski has been to winning until 2015. 2013, a 9th place and a 6th place finish. Keselowski led 30 laps in that second Texas race. In 2014, Keselowski led 85 laps to finish 15th. And in the fall race, I guess the rest is history. 22 laps and a very, very heated brawl happened between Keselowski's team and Jeff Gordon's team at the end of the race. When Jeff contact with Keselowski taking Gordon out of the race. In 2015, Keselowski led 27 laps, while in the fall race, he had the race back. He led 312 of 344 laps until Jimmy Johnson came out of nowhere and took the win away from Brad. That's the closest Keselowski has been to a winning race of
334, not 344.
All right.
Yeah.
But then Keselowski was a non-factor for a while. No top 10s in 2016. 2017 led 4 laps in the spring race to finish 6th while getting a top 5 in the fall race.
And then again,
no top 10s, but he did lead 12 laps or 50 laps to finish 12th in the fall race. Not that. No, horrible stats. 2019, a 36 and a 39th, and then a 9th place finish this year after leading 15 laps.
I'm just looking through. Like usually for like stats at tracks, usually you expect somebody with one DNF. He has 2 DNFs. 2018 finished 33rd, and then he finished 39th when him and Stenhouse made contact last year. Like, this really doesn't help him at all. Because I know he's good at Texas, like he's decent, but it's just he has to minimize the mistakes. Like the pit road mistakes or in an accident or some issue. He has to minimize those mistakes.
All right. Let's discuss Chase Elliott's at Texas Motor Speedway. This track was the site of his first win in the NASCAR Xfinity Series when he won the 2014 Nationwide Series Championship as just an 18-year-old rookie. Fastest driver to win a championship in the series history. In 2016, Elliott made his Texas debut, leading 1 lap, starting 4th and finishing 5th. He followed that with a 4th place finish after leading 3 laps in the fall. In 2017, Elliott led no laps but finished in the top 10. In the fall, Elliott led 1 lap and finished 8th. In the spring race of 2018, Elliott led 4 laps to finish 11th, while in the fall race he finished in 6th. 2019, Elliott had a great car leading 35 laps in the spring, but he finished 13th. He finished 32nd in the fall race at Texas, while this year Elliott finished 12th.
For me, the thing about what I mean about people saying about Chase Elliott, for me, it's the last 3 finishes at Texas that worries me. The reason is, he didn't win at Kansas, but he's really close on points. And Martinsville, he's had a little success in Martinsville, but not a lot. But this race, if he can, like, the last time he got a top 10 was 2018 in November. Then, other than that, 13, 32nd, and 12th. That's just like, for a playoff driver to be in the situation, they need top 10s and all that. But finishing outside the top 10 is not going to help it.
We're discussing Bowman?
Yeah.
Alex Bowman.
His
2 stats, his first 2 starts were for BK Racing in 2014 as a rookie, finishing 32nd and 42nd. 42nd at DNF in 2015 for Tommy Baldwin, a 33rd and 41st. And then he never raced again until the fall of 2016, driving for Hendrick Motorsports, where he's been ever since, 13th after starting 16th, and then 28th place in 2018 in the spring. Yeah. He led 3 laps in the fall to finish 14th. 2019, Alex Bowman started 24th, finished 18th, and in the fall he started 5th to finish 5th, led 11 laps, was a factor.
But the recent race is the thing that worries me. Started 12th, but finished 30th. Which one of the reasons that happened, he was in position to get a top 10 until Denny Hamlin got loose into him. For 5 races he's done that, I think. It's just like, if that happens again, it's like, he only has one top 5 and one top 10 at this track with an average finish of 25.6. I know he drove for BK Racing, but it's the races for Hendrick. He drove 4 races in backmarker teams, and other than that, he's driven 6 Texas races in the 88. It's basically, he has to minimize. He has to try to not do like he did in the playoff races. Like, he did good. Like, in the fall, he got 5th, but then the other race in 2018 got 14th. He has to be there in the top 10, fighting for stage points and finishing in the top 10, not running like 20th.
All right. Martin Truex Jr. is 31 points below the cut line entering this race, 7th in the championship in the round of 8 entering Texas. Truex Jr. has got to be the closest driver, the best driver not to win statistically wise. We're going to start 2005 as a part-time driver, around 34, the XL Cup Series. Truex led no laps, but he finished 15th after starting 27th. But then in 2006, Truex led 2 laps, started 9th, and finished 8th. In the fall race in 06, Truex Jr. finished 15th. In the spring race of 07, Truex finished 7th. But in the fall race, he started on pole at 16 laps and finished 3rd behind Matt Kenseth and Jimmy Johnson and Matt Kenseth.
2008, not a good race. Started 12th, led 2 laps, finished 36 with a blown motor. Then in the fall, started 2nd, finished 8th. Okay, then 2009, he started 31st, finished 25th. And then in the fall, started 27th, finished 14th. Then his first race with Michael Waltrip Racing, he started 14th, finished 9th. And then he crashed down in the fall in 2010, started 21st, finished 38th. He did the same thing in the spring of 2011, crashed again, started 31st, finished 35th. Then top 10 in the fall, started 19th, finished 8th. Then in 2012...
This was the first close to win performance by Truex.
He started on the pole, led 69 laps, and finished 6th. Then in the spring, he didn't get a top 10, started 5th, finished 13th. 2013 in the spring, he started P5, led 142 laps, and he finished 2nd to Kyle Busch. And then in the fall, started 15th, finished 14th. Then his first 2 races with Furniture Row Racing were not the best. In the spring, he started 18th, finished 18th. In the fall, he started 8th, but finished 19th. Okay, then in 2015, he started 15th and finished 9th. And in the fall, he started 23rd, led a lap, and finished 8th. 2016 was a really good year at this track. In the spring, he started 3rd, led 141 laps to finish 6th. And then in the fall, he started 12th, led 66 laps, and finished 3rd. And 2017 was impressive also. In the spring, started 7th, finished 2nd in Stage 1 and 10th in Stage 2, led 49 laps to finish 8th. And the spring and fall, he started 7th, finished 2nd and 4th in the stages, led 107 laps to finish 2nd to Kevin Harvick. And then April, he didn't go so well. He started 6th, but finished 37th after hitting the wall and getting massive damage. Then in the fall of 2018, he started 13th, finished 5th and 3rd in the stages, and finished 9th. In March of 2019, his first race with JGR at Texas, he started 20th, led 10 laps, and finished 12th. And then in the last fall, he started 17th, led 0 laps, and finished 6th. And his recent finish, he started 10th, finished 10th and 6th in the stages. He led 15 laps to finish 29th. Yeah.
I mean, how good can you get at a racetrack like Martin Truex Jr. at Texas and still not win. And I'm going to sort out the average finish here on Racing Reference. He finished second twice, but in the race where he led 142 laps, that was Truex's race to lose. In 2017 in the fall, Harvick just had the best car late in the race. And seeing with the 500-mile races, you need to plan ahead. It seems like you can be good in the beginning, but in the end, that's when it matters. And that's when it counts. Last driver on the list is Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch has a win at Texas. Now, I'm going to pull up the stats.
Yes,
he is
I'm
one of the more experienced drivers.
But, I know I'm looking at his stats in front of me. He does have that win, but there's other finishes that don't really do good. This is his stats. The first race he ever ran, Texas, was 2001 in his first season. He started 16th and finished 4th. Okay, that's good. 2002, he started 19th, led 1 lap, and finished 23rd. 2003, he started 30th, finished 9th. 2004, he started 12th, led a lap, finished 6th. And then 2005 is interesting. He started 19th, led 2 laps, and finished 7th. And then the first time the fall race existed, he started 18th and finished 10th. But
that would actually be his final start at Roush Fenway Racing before getting released.
2006 was interesting. He started 7th, but finished 34th in the spring.
Justin, I want to interrupt you for 1 second. What did Kurt Busch do the previous day that weekend in 2006 in his very first Busch Series start?
He won.
Yep. I think he's the most recent driver to do that, or the only driver in the series to win. But it happened in Texas. The fall race, Kurt led 37 laps and
finished 8th. But then 2007 is the opposite. Is almost similar, but not by finish, but in 2007, he started 17th, led 42 laps, and finished 11th. But then in the fall, he started 6th, led 10 laps, finished 8th. 2008 was a rough year at Texas. He started 23rd and finished 23rd. And then in the fall, he started 40th, finished 41st with a blown motor. 2009 was interesting. He started 28th, led 1 lap in the spring, and finished 8th. And then in 2009 in November, started 3rd, led 89 laps to get his first win and his only win at Texas Motor Speedway. 2010, interesting year. He started 11th in the spring, led 2 laps to finish 4th, but then in the spring he started 6th and finished 24th. 2011 was interesting at Texas for him. He started 10th, led 50 laps to finish 10th, and then in the fall he started 14th to finish 30th. His only start at Phoenix Racing at Texas, he started 27th and finished 13th, and then his first start with Furniture Row at Texas, started 18th, finished 8th. 2013 was not the best year at Texas for him. In the spring, he started 2nd, finished 37th, and then in the fall, he started 31st, finished 17th. 2014 was decent for some parts, in April, he started 11th, finished 39th out of the race in an accident, and then in the spring of fall of 2014, he started 4th, led 15 laps to finish 8th. The spring in 2015 was interesting. He started on the pole, led 45 laps to get 14th, and then in the spring he started 7th, finished 7th. And then in 2016, he started 21st, finished 9th in the spring. In the fall, started 10th, finished 20th. In the spring of 2017, he started 10th, finished 6th in stage 2, and finished 10th. And then in the fall, he got another pole, and he finished 5th and 7th in the stages and got 9th. And then again, in April 2018, he gets another pole, start on the pole, finished 3rd and 2nd. The stages led 40 laps to finish 7th again. November 2018, he finished 2nd and 8th in the stages, started 7th and finished 7th. 2019, he started 30th this time and finished 9th. November 2019, he started 4th, led a lap, and finished 9th. His recent start here, he started 3rd and finished 8th.
So from 2017 present, a top 10 finish has happened to Kurt Busch, and these are good numbers for Kurt, even though he's won once. I know he's in a must-win situation, minus 73 entering the race, but this could very well be a turnaround if they execute right. If Matt Kenseth and the folks from the 42 help him out here, like Tyler Reddick did with and Mark Ciard helped Austin Dillon get that victory, we'll certainly not be surprised, but there is still 334 laps to be settled when the green flag comes.
Yeah.
All right, so those are the 8 drivers in their history at Texas Motor Speedway. Now, mind you, Texas Motor Speedway had a slight reconfiguration in 2017, beginning the spring of 2017. This is the current layout where we're at today. The dirty air will be a factor one way or another, so watch for that. If someone goes really wide entering the corner, that could affect your tires.
Or they get, it just depends how you manage your tires. Some people burn the tires too fast by
right,
I've seen people get bumped out of the way with this package. I've seen people get bump each other in the corner.
It's very easy to make a mistake.
Yeah, and people don't like the banking. Well, it's not just dirty air. It's just like I remember when people complain about this configuration. Well, I remember when they first built Texas, they had to do 2 configurations after 97 and 98 because the track had problems with it because of crashes on the first lap in those years.
Okay, so that is the stuff we have for Texas. Do we have a prediction for a winner?
Okay, I'm going to read this person's stats. Okay. This driver has 3 wins, 12 top 5s, 23 top 10s, 31 top 20s, 654 laps led here. His best start, his lowest finish is 42nd. He's won recently. He's won in this fall. He's won 1, 2. He's won in the last 3 fall races. He's won all 3 of them. Kevin Harvick is going to get number 4 and punch his ticket to Phoenix.
Oh, you think Kevin Harvick's going to win? I was just about to say the same thing. Kevin Harvick will win, and he'll put himself in a position for a championship at Phoenix.
He's just the fall race. He just somehow something clicks.
Cooler temperatures compared to the spring race, or in this case, the summer race this year.
Yeah, but it's so interesting. Even with the old package and this new package, he still wins in the fall. He won in the old package 2017, 2018 in the fall. When the new package came out last year, he still won it. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, 2 more topics in NASCAR. The Xfinity Series Texas 300, the second race in the round of 8, and the 31st of 33 races of the season. Austin Cindric won this year. Yeah, like I mentioned, Kyle Busch crossed the line first, but his car was disqualified.
Yeah.
After giving the win to Austin Cindric. Christopher Bell won the race last year. Bell will be in it this year. Mark Martin won the first race back in 1997. And
the race.
Kyle Busch, 9 wins. Kevin Harvick, Eric Jones, Mark Martin, 3 wins. Carl Edwards, Brad Keselowski, 2 wins. The fall race for teams at Texas, Joe Gibbs Racing, 5. Richard Childress Racing, 4. Roush Fenway Racing and Team Penske, 2 wins, respectively. And as for the fall race, 5 wins for Chevy, Ford, and Toyota. So one of those streaks, one of those 5 wins are going to become a 6th victory this Sunday or this Saturday. So we're not going to look up statistically wise with the Xfinity Series drivers, as they're virtually all new.
Yeah. Some are, some aren't. Like, Cindric, he has 5 starts here. Okay, interesting. I didn't know he had 5 starts. Briscoe has 4. Allgaier has 7. Like, there's some of these full-time guys that have, like, currently running. They have, like, 7 starts. Same as Brandon Jones also has 7 starts here. That's recently, but in the whole stats. Let me look for a full-time driver. Nope, that's not one. Nope, definitely. Jeez, not Hemmer. Allgaier, he has the most starts of any active driver in the playoffs with 20. He has 20 starts. Haley has 3. Like, you can't compare Allgaier's 20 starts to Justin Haley's 3 starts. Like, you can't compare that.
Will experience be a factor here?
It might be because Texas is a tough track. It's not Kansas. It's not like you could run both lanes. This time, most cars will be on the bottom lane. I feel like experience will play in a factor here.
Right. So, yeah, lap 1, turn 1, and then the rest is history.
Yep.
But here's the thing. 11 points is where Allgaier is entering this race above the cut line. That's where second seed is.
Yep.
Which driver will win this race this week?
Okay, let me just... I have my stats here. This driver, and he's never won here, but he has 2 top 5s, 10 top 10s, 17 top 20s, and he's led 135 laps. He's the most experienced driver at this racetrack. He could have won in 2018 if there was if the Roush cars didn't hit each other in 2018. My pick is Justin Allgaier in the number 7.
My pick for this race
Oh, jeez.
will be a very interesting one. His name is Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain is going to win.
Okay, that makes sense. I thought you were going to say Noah Gregson. I'm like, no, I don't want to pick.
Don't be surprised if Gregson has a chance to win. And everything. If it just falls in place. We'll have to see.
We'll have to see if he doesn't hit Riley Herbst on lap 10. If he does that again, that's not going to help him in the race.
Okay, Justin.
I'm just saying.
All right, and as for the Truck Series, the Texas 400
kilometers.
Yeah, 400 kilometer event. It's the 21st of 23 races in the Truck Series season. The second of 3 races in the round of 8 that will determine the championship 4 at Phoenix. This year, Kyle Busch checkered flag. Well, Greg Biffle won last year. Most wins, Tom Bodine, 6 victories, more than any other driver. Kyle Busch is one beneath that, as well as Johnny Sauter. Johnny Sauter, the winningest active driver at Texas. Kyle Busch and Johnny Sauter have 5 wins, respectively. Brendan Gaughan won 4 races in a row from 2000 to 2003 at Texas Motor Speedway. Ron Hornaday Jr., 3 wins. Greg Biffle, 2 victories, as well as Matt Craft, Dennis Setzer, and Jack Sprague. So there's a lot of variety there on winners at Texas in the Truck Series. Very experienced drivers. Oh, the first race I forgot to mention was 1997. Kenny Irwin Jr. took the checkered flag. The late Kenny Irwin Jr. Team victories. Germain Racing, 4 wins. Well, this is for the fall race. Thor Sport, Kyle Busch Motorsports shared 3 wins. Orleans Racing, the team owned by Brendan Gaughan's family, 2 wins, as well as Kevin Harvick Incorporated, 2 wins. And fall races, Toyota, 10 fall Texas wins compared to Chevrolet, 7. Then Ford and Dodge share 3 wins. So looking at the Truck Series playoffs, it actually looks more spread out, just a little more spread out than it is in Xfinity. Brett Moffitt in with that victory. Then Sheldon Creed plus 26, Austin Hill plus 19, Zane Smith plus 7, minus 7, Grant Enfinger, Matt Crafton minus 15, Ben Rose minus 33, Ty Erkham minus 56. Well, in terms of the race, who's going to take the checkered flag?
Okay, this is interesting. This is, for me, my pick. This driver has And 6 starts. My my pick in 6 starts. This driver has 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, 4 top 20s, and 34 laps led. The last time we came here, he didn't have a good race. He didn't finish the race. He had an issue on his truck. My pick, this guy, he's so consistent this year. He couldn't make the championship 4, and he's won many races. Not many, but he's won races before. My pick is the number 16. Austin Hill is going to win at Texas.
I was just about to say the same thing on Austin Hill.
Yeah, it's like
Texas.
Like Austin Hill, I know that he's better at like the quad ovals, like the Kansas Vegas layout, but he's good on the mile and a half. Last time he had an issue, which was not his fault, but I feel like he could get it done with trying to make the championship 4. I feel like he's gonna to win the race and not worry about Martinsville.
All right. The Portuguese Grand Prix is next on our list of races. We're gonna make this pretty quick. I know this has been a long podcast.
Yeah, and I think people should know who's gonna win.
All right, let's get into some of the history here. Portuguese Grand Prix, first time in 24 years that this Grand Prix will be held. This year it'll be round 12 of 17. Jacques Villeneuve took the checkered flag. The last time in Portugal in 1996, the year before his World Championship in 97. First race was back in 1958. The late Sterling Moss took the win. And in the wins category for multiple wins, Nigel Mansell and Alain Prost, 3 wins each. Sterling Moss, 2 wins. In the constructors category, Williams, 6 victories. McLaren, 3 wins. Ferrari and Cooper, 2 wins each. In the track history, so there has been Portugal Grand Prix in the past, but as non-championship races. But the first, in terms of World Championship events, Boa Vista held the Portuguese Grand Prix in 1958 and 1960. 1961 race won by the late Sir Jack Brabham. And Monsanto was the site of the 1959 Portugal Grand Prix won by Sterling Moss. The rest of the races from 1984 to 1996 were held at Estoril. It's still a track, an active racetrack. It looks kind of similar to the Barcelona circuit in a sense. And then Portimao, the Algarve Portimao circuit, the site of the 2020 race.
Yep.
All right, let's predict a podium here. I'm going to go with Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen.
Mine's the same thing. Because, Lewis has been just so good with his momentum. Bottas has been kind of there, but not fast compared to Lewis and Max. The Red Bull's not the best compared to the Mercedes-powered cars. And no, Ferrari's not going to get somehow a podium. I don't know how Ferrari will be, because every time Ferrari says they get upgrades, they're not faster, they're slower.
And in terms of the World Drivers' Championship here, just real quick, between Sergio Perez all the way towards Lance Stroll, that's just 11 points separating 5th through 9th in the World Drivers' Championship. There's a lot at stake for these, drivers like Checo Perez, Lando Norris, Alex Albon, Charles Leclerc, Lance Stroll. And in the World Constructors Championship, there's some bragging rights at stake between Racing Point, McLaren, and Renault. Just 6 points separate Racing Point from, or 6 points separate Renault from Racing Point. And then between 4 points behind Racing Point is McLaren, Renault, which they have been a little bit off. But expect for them to rebound potentially. All they need to do is finish in points. Lando Norris, Carlos Sainz, doing a pretty good job this year.
They just have to, but like, thing is, the Racing Point is not a slow car. They're decent on the straights compared to the McLaren. And like Perez's experience, if there's no rain, because Perez is not good in the rain. If there's no rain, Perez is good. But other than Perez, if Stroll has to finish the race.
Right. And he didn't start the last race. It was Nico Hulkenberg.
But
took over a moment's notice. But the constructors, they need both cars to do well.
Which they with Hulkenberg also finishing in points, that helps the team and the constructors for like the Racing Point team.
Right.
Because both Sainz finished while Lando didn't. No, after he retired, he was just sitting on a lawn chair, just there. I remember he's just sitting on a lawn chair.
The Alonso meme. The lawn chair.
Yeah, he's just sitting there.
Okay. All right. Before we discuss IndyCar, we will preview a 24-hour race, or should I say 25-hour race, because of time change in Belgium and that area in Europe.
There. I got the entry list. It's the official website. They updated the entry list. This is the current version, the recent version.
I get page not found. Cool.
For me, I don't. For me, I have it. Wait. That's weird. For me, I get paid.
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. This is
right.
This is the new entry list, like the recent version. Okay.
24 hours to Spa is the third of four races in the Intercontinental GT Championship, GT World Championship, which 2 weeks ago we had the 8 hours of Indianapolis. Indianapolis Motor Speedway as part of the Harvest Grand Prix weekend. And that was a race won by BMW. This time around, it is the 24 hours of Spa, which is actually going to be 25 hours this year. Let's get into some of the history. Last year, the race was won by GPX Racing Porsche, driven by Kevin Estra, Michael Christensen, Richard Leitz. In 2019, a race that was red flagged many hours. It was just one of those 2020 kinds of conditions, you know. First race was way back in 1924. Henri Spiguel and Maurice Piquet drove a Bignon 2L car to victory in 1924. And as for most wins by a driver, this is a long list. So variety is key here. Eric Van de Poel from 1987 to 2008, 5 wins, more than any other driver at his home track in Belgium. Jean-Michel Martin, as well as Thierry Tessin, 4 wins. And these drivers have 3 wins. Attilo Marioni, Pierre Durigon, Hans Heyer, Dier Kester, Roberto Ragalvia, Mark Duez, and Michael Bartels. 3 wins for those drivers. And then this long list of 2 victories for these following drivers: Francesco Cervi, Luigi Chinetti, Helmut Gellner's Jean Zinchevel, Philippe Martin, Eddie Jewson, Armin Hein, Tom Walkinshaw. Yes, Tom Walkinshaw. Alfred Heger, Percy, Steve Soper, Alexander Bergstaller, Frederick Bruve, Christophe Bouchet, Fabrizio Golan, Andrea Bertoloni, Kurt Mulculligans, Mike Hesemans, Roman Dumas, Timo Scheider, Bernd Schneider, Rene Rast, Marcus Winkelhock, and Phil Bang. All those drivers. 2 victories in the 24 hours of Spa. Now let's move to look at the manufacturer count. BMW owns this race. They have 24 wins, more than any other manufacturer in the Spa 24 hours. From 1965 all the way until 2018, it's a total of 24 wins. No one has come close to even half of those wins. Second on that list is Alfa Romeo and Porsche, 7 wins each. Porsche, including last year. Ford, 6 wins. Audi, 4 wins. Peugeot, Ferrari, Maserati, and Mercedes-Benz, 3 wins each. And 2 wins for American manufacturers, the Chrysler Viper and the Chevy Corvette. So, your numbers here in the entry list. Justin, giving that keyboard some abuse, man.
I actually got my pick.
Oh.
Okay, my pick is another BMW. My pick is the number 34 Walking Horse Motorsport BMW M6 GT3, driven by Augusto Farfus, Nicky Katzberg, and Philippe Eng.
So BMW will win number 25.
Yep.
It's gonna be different here. I mean, well, looking at Porsche, they have a pretty amateur lineup in Herbert Motorsport.
Well, they have other Porsches in here, I see. Interesting Porsches here. I've seen 2 of these Porsches.
I picked Audi last time, and it didn't work at Petit Le Mans.
Maybe you
pick
should
them again.
But
There are 2 good entries here.
Yeah, but the Porsches have some.
I have a good pick. Number 29, Team Honda Racing. Honda Acura NSX GT3. Dan Cameron, Ranger Van der Zandt, and Mario Farnbacher. That could be a good pick.
It's better than your pick at the Petit Le Mans where they didn't finish.
GPX Racing there in this year. To defend the win, Matt Campbell, Patrick Pilet, Matthew Jaminet. Just have to look at the list over and over again. Maybe if they had a PDF, I'd freely see it. You want variety? You got variety. This is an interesting race, and it's not 24 hours. It's 25 hours. Because you turn the clocks back, you're racing for a 25th hour.
Yeah, it's not like in North America. We do that on November 1st. The week after they do it.
All right. And lastly, before we end this podcast, the IndyCar season will finish at the streets of St. Petersburg, where they were supposed to start this year.
Yep.
That's the site of the completion of the season.
Yep.
And last year, Joseph Newgarden, who is competing for a championship, won the race.
Yep.
Joseph Newgarden is 32 points behind.
Yeah, it's only those that are the only 2 for the championship. And people Newgarden. People said Dixon's going to lock it up after Indy. No, he lost points after Indianapolis.
Right.
Both races there, just Newgarden clawed at the points gap and dropped it to 32.
Mm-hmm. First race was in 2003, a race won by Paul Tracy for Forsyth Racing. And most wins Helio Castroneves, 3 wins in the category. Sebastian Bourdais, Juan Pablo Montoya, Will Power shared 2 wins respectively. Most team wins, Team Penske, 9 compared to Dale Coyne Racing and Andretti Autosport, 2 wins each. Most engine victories, Honda, 9, Chevrolet, 6, and 1 for the Ford Cosworth. That win was obviously with Paul Tracy in the 2003 Champ Car Kart World Series season.
Yeah.
And so conditions might be the same that were in the autumn.
It just depends. I don't know if there's supposed to be any bad weather. I don't know.
All right, let's make a prediction, and then we'll predict who wins the championship.
The
winner of the St. Petersburg Grand Prix.
Oh, jeez.
And it's not the Singapore Grand Prix, like I made that mistake in the past. The St. Petersburg Grand Prix winner will be.
Oh, God.
I don't even know who's in this one.
There's no entry list, but I know Bourdais is finishing out the season. I know that Hinchcliffe's driving for the Andretti team. Veach, got replaced. I already know some drivers that are already obviously in it. You have the normal Penske guys.
I'm going to go with experience, and Will Power will get his 3rd win, and Helio Castroneves on the all-time list.
Well, hold on a minute, Joseph. This driver, he has 1 win here, but he's been really good at this track. He did replace a 2-time Indy 500 winner. Joseph Newgarden is gonna win the race, and he's gonna win the championship.
You think Newgarden has enough to win the championship?
It's just he's so good at the track compared to Scott Dixon. I just don't know how much speed that Dixon will have compared to Newgarden. Like, Newgarden's figured out the track more than Dixon. Like, I know Dixon has so much experience, but, like, just at St. Pete, Newgarden's just outperforming Scott Dixon, because Scott Dixon might crack under pressure. With being only 32 points ahead, he should... Like, Newgarden's going to try everything to get that championship. 32 points... It's not a lot compared to what it was. Remember, it was like 120 points before. Like, we had 120 points. This time it's 32. So he closed in a lot in the last couple races.
Right. And the championship of this year will be... Your answer might be Joseph Newgarden, but my answer will be Scott Dixon. I think he'll rebound, and he knows how to race in this kind of situation.
But it's just if Ganassi brings him a good car, or that he actually doesn't make the mistakes. Because the mistakes like this, like, I've seen people make mistakes in the final race this season and give away the championship. We've seen it multiple times by drivers. Because this is, and I heard there's a chance of rain for St. Petersburg, which is interesting.
I think Dixon might do well. I mean, we'll have to see.
We don't have...
The championship deserves it. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, because Newgarden, like, that's a comeback. Like, being 120 points back to now 32, that's a comeback.
Oh, yeah.
And there's also different races like ARCA West. They have 3 races left. They're racing at Roseville.
This week.
Yeah, they have All-American Speedway Saturday. Then the next week after that, they have. Oh my gosh, I should know the name.
I think it's Rose.
They have Roseville this weekend on the 23rd.
I know there's another race, like one on a Friday.
Then the Bakersfield is next week after that, on the 1st. Or not the 1st.
Previous ARCA Menard. Okay, I just got
ARCA, I know they have
racing reference. Yeah. Okay, I'm looking. Yeah, if it
I know-
loads, that'll be.
I know
Please, if it doesn't, then I'll just sit here and wait like a miserable person will.
I know that Friday, this Friday, the 23rd, they have Roseville is this weekend on Friday. Yeah.
Okay, Roseville, and then 2 days later on the 25th is Bakersfield.
And then they have the final race on
Phoenix.
The 7th, Saturday. Yeah. So they have 2 races this weekend. Interesting.
Right, and it must be makeup dates. I know the ARCA Menards West Series had a lot of tracks that were thrown off the schedule for restriction-related reasons, but nonetheless, they're there. And
which ARCA West, that's the only regional, one of the regional series that still has races left in their championship.
Main ARCA Series East, that's all. They're all done.
ARCA West is still
the Petit Series. They're finished as well.
They finished in September. The modified tour finished a couple weeks ago. The same. Not last on the 11th, the same day as the ARCA East.
Yeah, they finished at Pensacola.
Yeah, and and modifieds finished at Thompson. ARCA West, they have 3 races left in their championship.
Yep. And before we end the podcast, here's some news. Yeah, news in motorsports. Justin Haley will return to Colleague Racing one more time in 2021. Now, Colleague Racing has announced 2022 as a target year to enter in the Cup Series. I have a better feeling now who the driver might be when that happens. It could be Justin Haley. Mike Doc Emmerich, the legendary play-by-play broadcaster in the National Hockey League for 47 years, commentating professional hockey, including Winter Olympics and 22 Stanley Cup Finals, has called it a career. Doc has retired, and if you ask me who's the greatest sports broadcaster of all time, I'm not going to give you a clear answer, but Mike Emmerich will be one of those names that would come to mind. And congratulations on a great career. Chase Briscoe, according to motorsport.com, in a post by Jim Utter, will race in 2021 in the Cup Series for Stewart Haas Racing, taking over the ride that was vacated by Clint Boyer. As we know, Clint Boyer will be going into broadcasting next year, working for Fox Sports. Chase Briscoe, I think he's ready for Cup Series.
Yeah, people say he's not doing good. I'm like, well, Custer won 8 races and he got promoted to Cup. Briscoe has 9. Briscoe has experience, which who else they would have put in the 14? They need a driver. They can't just say, hey, you that's running late models, you come in the car.
And the name that was hanging around who could be in the 14 car, that's Kyle Larson. Now, Kyle Larson has been reinstated by NASCAR effective on January the 1st. There's a recent update, I believe, by Chevrolet that they are starting to rekindle things together. And for those fans who are eager to say Kyle Larson to Hendrick Motorsports 2021, it might just get truer by the minute. We'll have to see.
There's so many things. There was also another thing that I saw that it's not fully confirmed, but it's really close to being confirmed. This is the thing that's quite confirmed that could be actually happening. There was a post that I saw about Eric Jones going to the 43. I saw that today. When I saw something like that, I'm like, and people said,
confirmed, it's about to be confirmed.
Yeah, which people are saying, oh, the 43 is going to go back to victory lane easily. I'm like, well, that equipment's not like it was.
If anything, Bubba Wallace helped bring the 43 back up to a level where they were struggling. And, Bubba Wallace, when he joined Richard Petty Motorsports after replacing Eric Almirola, Bubba Wallace was still a rookie in the Cup Series. Let's not forget, Eric Jones is now an experienced driver with great background that could bring Richard Petty Motorsports into top 15s, even some top 10s. And the Childress engines, if they stick to everything they had in these last 2 years, especially for RPM, they should be good. I still wish Eric Jones had a better ride, personally, because Jones deserves a ride like Hendrick Motorsports or Richard Childress Racing, but maybe a few years at Richard Petty Motorsports ain't gonna hurt Eric Jones, and he'll perform well. Will he make the playoffs? Don't know. That's just something we'll have to wait and see.
Whoa. What? I'm confused. I just saw a post. There was a person that took a photo of a car at Rick Ware Racing in an extra car, the number 45. I don't know if it's a fake photo because...
I don't know. I've seen a lot of fake photos on Twitter.
I don't know because people say it's at the Rick Ware shop, but number 45. Even if there's no 45 entered, don't know what they have. Maybe it's for next year. They'll have an extra car. I don't know. Because I literally looked. I'm like, 45. I'm like, they only have they don't have a 45. Last time I checked.
Okay. Keep me posted on that. See, Sid Hartman passed away peacefully at the age of 100 yesterday. Sid Hartman, a sports journalist, was involved in 75 plus years in sports journalism. Sid Hartman was 100 years old, and his last article was actually on the 12th of October, just about 6 days before his death, Hartman from Minneapolis, Minnesota, best known for being part of the Minneapolis Star Tribune from the Midwest, and also the Bathurst 12 Hours in 2021 has been canceled, and that was posted by Supercars. They should be back in 2022, depending on the travel restrictions. Right now, travel restrictions is a tough subject in Australia. Remember when Scott McLaughlin needed a month's advance to apply to get out of the country to race the St. Pete Grand Prix? That is actually what prevented Alexandre Primat from racing in Bathurst this year for quarantine restrictions. And most of the sports car teams are international. If that makes sense. The Bathurst 12 Hours would be around the end of January and the beginning of February, sometime a week or two after the 24 Hours of Daytona in January.
Yeah.
That said, I think we have reached the end of this podcast. We will be back next week for episode 82. Let's get those subscribers up to 200. Let's get 200 subs by the end of the year. Maybe by the end of the month.
Yeah.
And if we get 200 subs, guys will have a surprise. So let's get 200 subs. And we'll be back next week for episode 82. For my partners, Daniel Ford and Justin Hebert, I am Joe Laney Pavlon, signing off. Have a good one.